Noises.
We're making noise.
Oh,
Can you hear me? There it is. Hey.
Greetings, friends, and welcome back to the Machine God, to the realm of the ninth world, Numenera by Monica Games. We are in the midst of the Mighty Arm, a giant mecha arm.
Yeah.
That we have found as a salvageable region in the cold desert, Methunius, where we have set up our base of the Amber Keep. I got the image for
Sorry, that was loud.
for you guys, of the mighty
Yes.
arm where we are.
Mm-hmm.
Is a giant mecha arm
With
is
how many?
severed that we've been exploring. And,
Did we say that it has two thumbs? I still have a problem
It
with the
has
idea
two
of something
thumbs.
having two thumbs.
It is
in
two
general.
thumbs and I think 7 fingers.
Yeah.
Just so it's 9 total fingers, 2 thumbs.
I know this is the ninth world, so it could have anything, but like, are there any creatures in our world that have two thumbs?
This one
Or
does.
like,
Not that I
is
know
a
of.
thumb by definition only on one side of the hand? This
think
is
you
why
could
I'm
definitely
contesting
have
it,
two
or is it
thumbs.
a pinky?
You could have
A
two
weird
thumbs.
pinky.
I think it would be pretty useful.
I think an otter and a possum, one of those things, one of them actually has the thumb here, and then it's got like another little opposable joint down
Nub
here.
down
too.
there.
You know how ridiculous that would make like baseball a much more interesting sport because pitching would be crazy. Oh god.
It is turn to Blurns ball, man. That's all it is.
Learns ball.
You know.
So we have spent 1 month rebuilding Amber Keep after we were in the Frontex lair. Remember the beetle people in the crystal? We're getting Shag as a player, and also the audience caught up. And then I'll tell you where your character's been because I had some thoughts. And so we tracked down the people who went before you guys to found the Amber Keep, and they had been captured by the Frontex, the weird beetle people, and we infiltrated their lair. Well, not so much infiltrated, but talked our way into their lair and had some food and whatnot with them and a parlay, and learned that they were sacrificing the people to demons, and so it quickly turned sour to a demon, which was really just a strange robotic device that they were using to fire a laser at them, and then they would just disappear.
Disintegrate them.
Shooting people with a laser?
Yes, yeah.
I never really clicked that it was just a laser. I was like, maybe it was like taking them and
Yeah, it kind. I was describing it as like one of those '80s, like it's like the beam of light, and then it surrounds them, and then they glow, and they're like ah, and then they disappear. So it's like maybe they were incinerated, or maybe they were taken somewhere. Yeah. But that was from Kele's vision using the memory extractor on the leader. So you guys managed to chase the Frontex out of that crystalline structure. And salvaged some ciphers and whatnot from it, and found your crew and brought them back to Amber Keep. And then we shifted last session into long-term actions. So we did 1 month of long-term actions, and you basically take one turn, like one action per month in the long-term actions. And so we worked on rebuilding Amber Keep. So at this point we have walls that have been rebuilt. We have a bunch of houses and whatnot. They're working on like kind of a tavern called the Free House that they're excited to put together. And some more travelers have come to the Amber Keep. And here is our lovely. You can put it on the thing. Maybe I can get the.
Get the shot, Keith.
Yes, the shot of the Amber Keep. The module provides this lovely drawing, and they encourage you to draw on it. But of course, all the walls were destroyed. So we have colored in where our walls have been fixed, and we also have a new fountain that was crafted by Kele. It is a Numenera installation, is what they call them. They're like ciphers, but they're like permanent structure ciphers, right? And so Kele built a fountain that creates water from nothing. Like it puts together the hydrogen and oxygen and the air and creates water out of it. However,
easy peasy.
Due to some poor rolling, it has a antagonistic personality
Yes.
to it. So when people are trying to fill their water bottles, we'll tend to spray them in the face.
This is such a ridiculous thing. I love it.
It particularly loves spraying Viso.
Viso, yeah.
Oh, Viso cannot get water from
I
the
know.
thing.
And actually, when you guys were leaving,
every time.
when you were leaving, Viso expressed that he was planning to create a water catchment, like a rudimentary, basically giant bowl that like rainwater will be caught in, because he like doesn't entirely trust your crazy thing, right?
Got nanos in the water.
Nanos in there.
So, we captured a wild beast in order to tame it.
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
We practiced
Did,
running. We were sprinting around
Oh, yeah.
the base in order to like
Practiced running.
My
get in
character
shape.
is, he's learning to run faster, so he has
Preparing for a marathon.
fleet of foot.
Yogging.
He's
or
working on
jogging.
fleet of foot. So.
And Kele scouted out in the region around the Amber Keep to try and find a good place to salvage Numenera from, to find parts, and found the mighty arm, which was this mecha arm that we're currently exploring. We ventured out and went to it and found that there was this village of abhumans that were living in the shadow of it, called the Blue Tongues. They were like I know they had two tongues. I'm blanking on exactly what color their skin was and whatnot, but they had many eyes, like their like whole heads
The
were
eyes on
covered
their
in
heads,
eyes.
yeah.
And
they
they
were
had
farmers.
they had two tongues, like super long tongues, and they didn't speak the language of truth, but you guys managed to communicate with them, and through some negotiation, eventually talked the leader, who seemed like a very peaceful individual, to travel to the Amber Keep and kind of negotiate some kind of peace treaty. It wasn't totally, or negotiate like some kind of something. It wasn't totally clear what was going on there. But you guys, he had a cipher that was basically like a radio.
I think I've got the
radio.
other half.
Yeah.
I don't think I wrote it down, but I'm pretty certain it was me, because I got rid of one of my ciphers for it.
Yeah.
Oh, the dog, the squishy
Yes.
dog is running around.
Yes.
Oh, I'm holding it because we got scared.
Yeah, it got scared and it ran back. We created with a cipher this spongy.
Not a facade.
It's not a person. It's a doggy.
It's a
kind of
dog.
thing.
Is it made out of the same stuff?
Yeah,
right?
yes.
definitely.
When you touch it, your hand kind of like gets enveloped by it. You know, it's like.
It's a Nerf dog. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, it's a.
Except it's always a little bit more moist.
Right.
Than our,
It has no eyes, but it has like
No.
divot, like no eyes and no mouth, but it has like divots where those things should be, and it's like kind of rudimentarily
Man.
molded.
An animal with no mouth or something that doesn't breathe, it would just make me feel like I need to breathe more. Constantly wanting to breathe for it.
Ugh.
Especially
So,
dogs.
you guys were journeying into the mighty arm in order to see if there was anything salvageable, because the Blue Tongues didn't like particularly seem like they really cared, and the leader had kind of warned you guys about some kind of weird thing going on in there with gestures that were unclear. And where we left off was that you had encountered such strange thing in the form of sorry,
A map.
in the form of a dimensional husk, was where we left off, which was a figure who was kind of crouching in the corner, and we were seeing these ghost-like duplicates of that person as if they had like mirror image cast on them or something, but all of them were like racked in some like state of agony or confusion. They were all like looking in different directions and doing different things, and they were all speaking at the same time, right? And it's kind of like a choppy, like as if there's some kind of buffering issue going on. It's like that or but then like 10 of that like overlaid on top
And
one of
doing
each other.
different things.
10 timelines all at one time.
And
Something like
it
that.
had turned and look, I believe Shent was like kind of creeping into the room, right?
Yeah, he definitely was taking point.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get too far before
Yeah, you're pretty close to,
Everybody else.
and it was like kind of a crowded like hallway that you were kind of squeezing through and emerged in there, and it turned and looked at you with several of the faces, and several of them are kind of not paying any attention, but there's like this crackling blue, strange like chronal energy, like weird time distortion going on with this thing as it stares at you with like kind of a sense of rage and agony in its eyes, and the one that like fully connects to you. And then we pause there, and we backtrack in time a little bit to what Relay has been up to. Relay and Radius, the other
Son of diameter.
Half
son of diameter, yes.
Did I forget the
How did you forget that?
Cousin to pie.
Had both had a strange sense that they might be able to find one of these, like you guys were feeling like you were detecting one of the other of your kind, right? But the signal was very weak, so you guys decided, this was like in the midst of Amberkeep being reconstructed, you guys went out into the wilderness and found a small like mountainside, right, to like stand on to see if that might help to give you a better like signal in order to track this friend. And atop that hillside, you were confronted by a figure who wore red robes and had the tattoo of the gear in the crazy luminescent ink that you guys' tattoo is. And the figure was definitely a nano in the way that they behaved, but they were devastating, and they launched an assault and were very clearly trying to capture you guys. Radius was quickly like incapacitated by some blasts of energy from this figure. And Relay in kind of a desperate action leapt from the cliffside in order to try and get help, because it seemed like a losing battle, right? And so damaged but not beyond repair, Relay crawled back, crawled for a time until the servos gave way, and then lay there for a time, and then was rescued
As robots want to do, yeah.
And then was rescued by a kindly group of blood barm farmers with too many eyes and long tongues, and they brought you back to their small village in the shadow of the mighty arm. And there, a strange religious shamanic kind of figure tinkered with you for a time under your direction. They didn't speak the same language as you, but you, with like kind of your incapacitated limbs and whatnot, but you were instructing him on like what to connect and whatnot. And over the course of a month, were totally reconstructed and just back together. And there was a moment that you were listening to a conversation happening outside, and it seemed like it was happening in the language of the truth. Yeah. So you got up and went after them and found the backs of your friends as they are entering the mighty arm.
There you are. You finally arrived.
And it all happened at the speed of plot.
Yes. And now here we are now.
Standing before the Dimensional Husk.
Kele
yes.
would have run and thrown his arms around your neck and just squeezed as tight as
Careful.
onto your
Careful.
robot body.
I don't trust this guy's welding equipment, so just careful.
Which one of you is the one that
so
can
much.
identify?
Oh my gosh.
Gravity well, y'all.
Oh yeah.
Gotta get off that
What's the word for these?
Well, not that.
Well, that's cricket. You gotta
That's
roll
crack.
that.
It is crack.
Numenera, probably.
No, there it is.
Whoa!
Wow. Yes.
Back.
Well, it's funny. You almost can't read it on the screen there, but
It's a
Look at that.
There it is.
Look at that.
Okay.
No
Dice
I
for
guess-
CS.
I guess that's
first
fair.
roll.
Boo.
Shag's
Yeah.
triumphant return.
Bird
Kele's
incoming.
I'll let you do it, Shag.
Dun, 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 dun. This is Kele.
That's a weird bird.
Gravity well.
Yeah. It's like a Mortal Kombat ending.
All right, I want you guys to roll initiatives, but this doesn't necessarily have to be a fight. It's just a tense situation at this point.
I am gesturing for Kele to come up and get a look at this. Thinking that your skills at identifying Numenera might be helpful.
Yeah, it's freaky, right?
I do not have my weapon out yet, though I mean I have it. I have my the polearm in my hand, but it is not extended, right? It's not a polearm. It's the quarterstaff. It's the heavy.
Heavy quarterstaff?
It was something that Keith and I talked about making.
I like it.
Because the idea
I was
that
like,
it's
I've never heard of one of those before.
yeah, the idea that it's a quarterstaff shape, but it's basically a heavy weapon, right?
Steel pipe full of concrete.
Yeah, totally. Yes.
But it's Numenera style, so it like can retract.
Right?
Yeah,
Telescoping.
It can fold up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got my Nami pole.
All right, what'd you guys get?
It doesn't sound
I
right.
got a 15.
All right. All right.
I got a 10, but I am trained.
Okay. That did not get it.
I got an 11.
That did not get it either. But you guys will go after
16.
it. All right.
Boom.
And I'm after it.
Okay. All right. The round will start with Relay and Shint, and at this point you hear kind of like a bit of a commotion like further on in the hand of Shint. You're saying like better get a look at this or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
what kind of dialogue is Relay hearing?
I'm because he's not all the way up with us.
Yeah, you guys are still like working through this. They're like behind you, working through this weird cramped tunnel that was like all kinds of like cables and wiring and stuff like that.
I've already made it through.
Yeah.
I'm like you, my Kele, you need to
Save me
get
from
up
myself.
here and see this thing. I can't tell if it's a projection or if it's real, but
Grape selection.
it's got to be a Numenera.
Got weird names these days.
I'm not gonna try to attack it, but I look down at that
Is
little.
anything really real, Sean?
Yeah, it is. When you get stabbed, that's real.
Is it?
Speaking of real
Can
or
I hear
not,
this language?
is this Relay before us?
It is.
Do my eyes
I'm,
deceive
like,
me?
Looking back down the wire hole.
My voice modulator is like actually like 2 octaves higher. I seem chipper instead of like the normal. Right.
Relay, how is it that you came to be here?
He's got the emotion.
I recant the story, you know, and then I start talking about Spidey welding for a long time.
Because we're further back, right?
All right.
Shint's ahead.
Yeah.
And then I say scanning.
Are you second?
I'm scanning this guy.
Okay.
He's speaking whatever this
Yeah,
other
Yeah,
language is.
you peek in and scan him.
No.
That
6
succeeds.
No.
And scanning, I think you get an asset.
Mm-hmm.
I think on the next task against them, and you learn some good information. So this was a person, right? But now they have, whether they have done it themselves or just gotten trapped in something, they've tampered with like time and reality, and now they're like a strange scar, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're all of the different like divergent timelines of this person have all been like inexorably anchored together in like a torturous kind of way.
This
And-
life form has suffered many temporal contusions.
Yes.
Okay.
Totally.
I'm just making
We
it
need to
fun.
help it, right?
Well,
I think you should
should I
stay away from
understand
it.
anything?
Is it
It
even
is.
alive?
You can like read its facial expressions and like its gestures and whatnot. At one point, it is like pulling out like a pistol and is like trying to load it and like hold it to its head. One of the like figures, and the other one is like bashing its head against the table and whatnot. Like they all seem tortured and strange in their own way, but some of them are like looking at you guys
Or
with
interacting with
like,
us.
like they're ready
Yeah.
to like strangle you,
Yeah.
right?
Like, so termination would probably be the only release for this thing, you know?
Like,
I don't know how it works,
kill
but
it?
don't get sucked in.
I mean, we could let it, we could let it live and it suffers or kill it now, but we're not going to get any information from it.
What's it around? Is it like around? Is it standing in anything?
Um,
is it around
It,
anything?
it's in like it's an integrated weapon room, so it's kind of like you know, the weapon part of the arm, like this is where it's
Just the basic
like
look right here.
kind of powered and whatnot. So this room is filled with functioning machinery, though it does seem a little bit off. There's some panels and whatnot, though they're like flickering and like and strange, right? They're all on the command line. They all have blue screens of death, right?
Were you at the top of the initiative?
I don't know if I was at the first or the second.
Yeah, Relay and Shant were at the top.
Right.
And with your good roll, Shag, I will say that you know that it is it is not always in phase,
Right, so it's
right?
in a
Like
flux.
all of these things are kind of like shifting in and out of reality.
Right.
So like sometimes one of them appears to be ghost-like and ethereal, and then sometimes it snaps into existence.
Right.
And sometimes multiple of them are in existence at once, and sometimes none of them are. Right.
Right.
It's going to be difficult to.
I like try if I can during my turn, like pull a wire off to like ripping this cord off the wall, and I'm like swinging it out in there.
Yeah, just to like kind of get a sense.
I want to see if that cord's gonna get sucked into whatever vortex is. If there's like a bubble where this is happening,
Yeah.
I want to see if this
Cool.
thing gets like sucked in.
Give me an attack roll.
So,
You can use speed or might.
I'm just gonna roll it. I rolled an 8, which is 1 below the 3. Sucks.
Roll again.
Whoa.
Even better.
No.
It is that
Even
6
worse.
roll.
I got a 6. I got a 6.
Effectively, it's the same.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, technically it is the same, isn't it?
So you sweep this wire out, and it seems like they're like flickering in and out of existence as the wire's passing by. So it like grazes over like one of them, but then he flicks out, and then it falls, and then it gets caught on another one, and then that one phases out. So it's like it is as you expected, right? But it didn't seem like to be any kind of bubble or whatnot that it got slowed or like tangled in. It interacted with it like as if these things, when they seem like they're real, they are real, and when they seem like they're like out of phase, they are, right?
And the wire didn't start showing itself phased in and out. My hope was that it wouldn't multiple timelines of the wire wouldn't start existing either.
No, the wire seems like unaffected by whatever's going on with this thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's good.
totally.
That's good.
Totally. And I will say, because you've interacted with it at this point and seen it happen, on a mechanical sense, you have to re-roll even numbers anytime you attack it.
Interesting.
And take the second result.
I,
Right? Because of this weird, like, kind of random nature to it, right?
I'm not gonna do, but just say to Kelu, I'm like, Kelu, you should throw your dog in the middle of the room.
Are you insane?
No.
I love this dog.
Yeah, I know.
And I only had it for 28
It's just
hours.
a joke. It was just a joke.
Okay, well, don't make those kinds of jokes. Gosh. As I'm like
That might not be a bad
petting
idea.
it, and
Relay,
it's
how
like
long have you
see
been
its-
here?
How long have I been here? About
Spongy
3
body.
months?
If one of those
A
things
week?
materializes in the middle of it, it might blow it in half.
About a
That's why
month,
I was wanting
yeah.
to do it.
Yeah, because we did the long-term thing.
Yeah.
Approximately 30 cycles.
Do you know what we might find in here?
You haven't been in here yet.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Though
Other
you
than
got the impression from the
bad welders back that way.
yeah.
You know,
You got the impression that the blue tongues that were housing you are like afraid of this thing,
Right.
and you got the impression by the gestures that they made that it was haunted.
no. So, yeah, it seems like these locals are afraid of whatever this quantum disturbance is, and like most primitives, they have deduced it into I can't say anything right now. I'm trying to roleplay guys.
They fear it.
Right, yeah.
All right,
They fear it. Yeah.
the husk is going.
Dimensional Husk.
All right, the husk is doing each different body is doing all these different strange gestures, but then two of them step out from the others, and the one that was like trying to load the gun and shoot itself like has noticed you guys, and like holds the gun quivering out at Shant and fires. Another one is running out with like basically like a welding torch that he'd seemed like he was trying to like interact with one of these panels with, and just like in a fit of madness is running out, and he's flickering in and out of existence as he's moving towards you guys, but he's got this welding torch and he's just like flailing it at relay. So both you guys make me speed defense.
I'm gonna use an effort.
Same thing here. I'm gonna use an effort. Speed.
Keith, I have a question.
Yeah.
I feel like this is something that we had done before, and in fact, it's probably on the special rules, but can I do something to, like, aid in a defense here, and, like, giving up a turn or something?
16. But I used effort.
I feel like we had-
material.
Yeah, I feel like that would you would give them an asset, but you would give up your turn.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's reasonable. All right, you got a 16.
I used effort, so it's
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah,
I didn't need to.
you succeed. So he runs towards you, and like is swinging at you with this plasma torch, and you duck out of the way, and then his arm like swings over your head, and then he like leans into you for a second, and you feel his weight, and then he phases out of existence, and then just completely passes through you,
Wow.
and falls on the ground like behind you,
Okay.
right? And he's like ghost-like on the ground.
Wow.
Randy, what'd you get?
I got a 15.
A 15?
Yeah, and I used an edge.
Okay, used effort.
Yeah. Yeah, I used effort.
You're actually like kind of surprised by this weapon, because you guys have never seen like lasers necessarily before, but this is totally like an artifact of Numenera that is like functional, right? You're like, whoa, this blast of light flies towards you, and you totally reflexively like hold your staff up, and it hits it, and like a firework display of sparks fly out from your staff, but you mitigate it, you don't take any damage, and he's still, all of them are still like flickering in and out in their maddened state. All right, and then the rest of you guys, Kele, Kelu, and Forfax can go in whatever order.
I'm reading up on this.
I know what I want to do. Do you know what you want to do?
Well,
You go first.
Probably double
you
check
know.
it, Josh, in
have
Discovery,
two
because it might be different.
Do you want to see what I do? And
Yeah,
then
I
go?
just.
Yeah.
Based on that?
I mean,
Okay.
drawing the attack is probably the closest. There is a guarding as well.
Yeah, I don't know that in the rules as written you could like aid someone in a defense. I don't know if that is.
on their.
But
on
I'm
the
cool with
GM's
it.
Turn, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, since that has already passed, I won't do that this time. I'll just
Okay.
I know what I'm up
something
to.
else, but I was just reading about something that I didn't know about here.
So,
Yeah, there are totally a couple of good combat actions that you guys can.
I love that little
complementary
table
action
there.
is
the
crazy.
complementary actions, they're really cool. I like the multi-attack stuff that you can do. So I have got this dog, and the dog is now making a squishy yelping noise. And it is like climbed on my shoulder, and I'm like still holding it by the butt, and we're like running through the room to like get to. I assume there's some sort of like panel of some sort somewhere, right? Is that the case? Do I see anything that like looks like it's near this machine? Or like...
give me an intellect, and this won't necessarily be your role. This is. And if you're like trained in,
I will use
understanding Numenera.
I have a disadvantage. In
okay.
Numenera. I am trained in engineering, though. I don't know if that has anything to do with this whatsoever.
I don't think so.
Okay, so you want an intellect,
Yeah.
and am I at disadvantage for the understanding Numenera?
Yeah.
It's not disadvantage. This is.
Yeah, it's hindering it.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
It'll make it a step harder.
You know what? I'll still use an edge. Why not? That is a poor roll. So it is 8. So
Yeah, you get the impression by looking. You don't really know exactly what you're looking at, but you get the impression that like none of this stuff is none of the equipment in this room is like chaotically out of control. It's just like barely running, right? It's like as if you left like some PCs on for like a couple hundred years or thousands of years, right? So they're all in a state of like having crashed and aren't really doing anything, but like nothing is like red alert in this room, right?
gotcha. Well, yeah, so I mean, I'm really just trying to go over to this
Switchy yelp.
this like panel. I don't know what is in like if there's any sort of like control system or anything at all like that in this room that could basically be like I can study basically. I don't know if there's there may not be. It may just be like a empty room with this.
It's a pretty small room, so you're gonna be like walking kind of right up near him. Here, let's get this.
Yes, that's fine.
It's this room, right? And you guys have come in through this door, so he's like kind of in this area. So you'll have to walk past him to get to stuff.
Yes, I'm running right past him, and as I'm going, I'm like, "Tell us!" I'm holding my dog. "Tell us how to help you!" And I'm like looking at this, looking at whatever I can find in this room to like try to see if there's like anything to like mechanism to shut up. I'm basically just studying. I don't know what I need to do. I know you made me do the understanding Numenera roll, but I'm really looking for more like mechanical things, not necessarily Numenera-ish, unless it's all Numenera in the room. I don't really know.
Yeah, it is pretty Numenera. Yeah, there's nothing necessarily mechanical.
That my character
I know, right? It is weird.
Ah!
It is weird.
Okay.
It's to prevent any one class from consolidating too much Numenera power.
It makes
because understanding Numenera is really powerful.
Classes, yeah.
Like,
Well, one person can
I
understand
get
it, but
is
can't
understanding
salvage
Numenera.
it.
I can't salvage a damn thing, but I can tell you what's
And
going on.
you can craft it, but you can't understand it.
I'm like, who cares? Like, I don't even care how it works.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, so I'm just a blubbering. Well, you said that wasn't necessarily my action. I guess I'll use my action to speak to it then.
Okay.
Like, I'll legitimately be like I'm like hitting buttons and panels and probably failing, but I'm like mostly just like, how do I help you?
Yeah,
Tell me how to help you.
Give me a intellect persuasion if you're trained in persuasion.
I'm not.
That's what he's gonna say.
Or anything that you think might be helpful in this
Doing
situation.
everything you're hindered by.
Healing and engineering is really all I got.
Run up and try to heal it. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
You got effort?
yeah, I will use
You're
an
gonna
effort.
serve as its counselor and do emotional and mental healing.
I got a 12.
12.
I did use effort. I don't know if that.
Okay.
was
Actually, yeah. Sorry. Thank you for reminding me. So you say, "How can I help you?" And you see the one that just shot at Shent is like holding the gun back to its head, and the one on the ground with the plasma torch is like scrambling like around on the ground, and several of the other ones are just going crazy, right? But you notice one of them that turns towards, like, further on into the structure and just, like, points with a pleading look in his eyes.
If I have any movement left, I don't know how far I've moved in this room. Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. All right, good. Cool.
So...
Charlie! Calm down. It's gonna be okay.
So are these other ones still seeming aggressive?
Yeah. And it seems like, I mean, it is like in constant flux, right? Where, like, you know, several of them, like, it's not, I'm describing ones that we've kind of followed a little story of, but other ones are, like, flickering in and out of existence, right? It's like all these
Possibilities.
dozens of timelines at any given moment are flickering in and out, yeah.
All right. I'd like to step up into the room, having seen this interaction, and it's pointing to, like, further on to be like, that's the place to go to like help me or to fix me or something, right? So I want to go up, and I don't know if, I guess really I'm just like, so there's an option in here to draw the attack, and I think normally that is intended to be done like when the attack happens, maybe. When an NPC attacks a character, another PC can, like, present themselves or shout taunts or put themselves in the way.
Okay.
I want to be doing that, like, with my turn. I'm stepping up into the room, and I'm like, everyone step forward to the next chamber, and I will keep this thing off of us, basically.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah, that's what I would like to do. It says that in most cases you don't have to roll unless it's a, like, determined or intelligent foe, in which case I would roll, like, an intelligence, like a goad. Man, I totally have a goad ability. Or something else.
This might be guard, because I feel like there's, the guard is the mechanic where, like, if you're, like, guarding a particular person or whatnot, and then if it attacks it, then you, like, interject.
Well, okay, so guard is in here, right? But guard is not in here, and I have yet to find the. Oh, guarding is here. That's totally separate from cooperative actions.
Yeah, I guess it's not a cooperative action, maybe? I don't know.
Okay, so this is what I'm doing. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm guarding.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is my action. Don't make attacks and decrease the difficulty of all of my attacks that I were taking by one step.
Yeah, so your defense tasks are going to be eased, and then you kind of are in the way, like, if it attacks anybody else,
if something
it'll
tries
come
to get
you.
past me. Yeah, that is exactly.
Yeah, you
what
make
I'm
a
doing.
roll to try and stop it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So Forfax steps up with his shield and is protecting you guys, and we're back to the top with Relay and.
I have to.
Or I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, I just want to make sure that I understand. The one with the gun and the one with the welding torch are both kind of consistently accessible to us?
Yeah, they're flickering in and out of existence, but they're like, they seem relatively stable.
So if one timed it correctly, one could snatch a memory from one?
Oh yeah,
Whoa.
yeah, you could. But yeah, they are like fluctuating in and out of existence.
So I would say, would that be like a speed task to? Yeah, I do. I want to, I guess, cross to where it is. I'm gonna come up to the one with the gun, and we just have to think of like one concept, right? That we're getting. I'm going to, I guess, concentrate on the hand. So like memories about this mighty arm.
Yes.
And speed task. Definitely going to use effort.
You're going to throw it further into dismay
Yeah,
when it
that's
starts
all right.
forgetting its own life.
That's alright. Sometimes I need it more than you do.
Oh, I forgot about that one horrible bully.
That's an 18.
Oh, but it's even, so you have to re-roll it.
No.
That's right.
That's a 6.
Oh, that's so bad. That sucks. That 18
Did you use
so good.
effort?
I did, but
Yeah,
it
it's
is a 6.
Still would not get it, yeah. You could use XP to re-roll if you want. And I will say that this is re-rolling the second roll, so you don't have to. If you roll even, you won't have to roll again.
10.
A 10 with effort?
It was
Yes.
effort. You don't have to dismiss your effort
No.
or use it again, right?
You don't
On
have to
a
pay for
reroll?
it again.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So she had previous.
But you could, if you spend, say you didn't use effort on the first roll, then you spend XP, then you can use effort on the second. But you're not having to like spend again. You
Yeah.
don't
Okay.
spend
You
new.
spend your effort.
All right. I want this to happen mostly, so I'm gonna let it happen at the expense of a GM intrusion.
Awesome. I love GM intrusion, and I feel like I deserve one, honestly.
Your arm sucking the time warp.
All right, so you reach forward and grab hold of this this flickering
Yeah.
figure's head, and as you grab hold of it, what you guys see, she's got the memory gauntlet on, right, and grabs hold, and just in the moment that they make contact, it flickers out into the ghostly state, and it brings Kele with it.
Ooh.
So they're both are like in this
Oh man.
vanished, ghostly, ethereal state, right? And then the GM intrusion is that in that state, you see a second form of Kele step backwards, like stumble backwards, and still wearing the gauntlet and whatnot, and clutch her head and scream, and then just start running in a ghost-like form past all of you guys. So you feel like a weird chill go down your spine as this ghostly Kele like passes through you,
Wow.
running out from the building, right?
No apologies. I stand by my choices.
No, Kilo is peeing himself right now and screaming.
The vision you see is confusing because you don't understand the language that this figure is speaking, but you can understand the situation. This person is right inside of this building that you guys are in, the Mighty Arm, right? Except it's all fully functional and all the cables are pulled back and they're like behind panels and everything is like pretty pristine, except for the fact that it seems like it's being like bombarded. Right? It's like shaking and the person's screaming and they're stumbling and they're trying desperately to get to something. And you see them stumble through this room that you guys are in now, though it's all pristine and all the monitors are like flashing alerts and whatnot, and into a room beyond where there is something that is beyond your comprehension as a character, but it's this beautiful orb-like shape that's being contained in some kind of Numenera field. And as players, I'll just tell you it's some kind of like power core, right? It's like the power for the ship, but it looks like totally unstable. And so the person is like running up to panels and like trying to do something, but is repeatedly getting like rocked by like some kind of blast hitting the outside of the building, and then this power core like goes completely unraveled, right? And in that moment there's this like shivering of weird blue electricity that passes through everything, and we see this rippling of all the ghosts of this person are all like being like forcibly torn apart. There's also like a pet dog that was freaking out in the same room, and you see like in its frantic state like all these ghosts of the dog all run off in like different directions, and so you just like everything in this room is being like quantumly torn apart, right? And then it just all goes black.
Wow. It's a major temporal disturbance.
Yeah. For those watching at home, this is completely off the Machine God book.
Way to
This is off that path
source
altogether.
your
But
power from the wrong place.
I'm like, yeah, there's a reason this world doesn't exist anymore.
Is this even the original instance of this world? Is the question. You know, yeah.
I like the image though of this person like Star Trek falling around.
yeah. Oh.
Like flipping over consoles.
These right here.
Oh,
Yes. Luckily, I just watched the next gen episode where they had the crazy time freeze, where the Romulans were attacking them, and there was that crazy time freeze, and they were investigating it. So that inspired the Dimensional Husk for me to think about it a little bit more, which was cool.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Star Trek. Thanks, Next Generation. So yeah, you learned that. and you flicker back into existence and stumble backwards. But you didn't see this event of your ghost fleeing from you.
All right. If I got anything else, any movement left in me, I guess I would go in the direction we were supposed to go.
I think you used your movement to get to him.
Okay.
Yeah. But then we're back at the top.
Well,
And you know like what panel the person was going to control
Okay.
the core.
To try to stabilize it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to scan, and I'm trained in understanding Numenera, so I'm scanning the room for all the equipment, and I'm trying to see if there's an off switch that this guy can use. Right, possibly.
Okay.
You know? All right.
Well,
He asked the thing, and it pointed to a room down the way.
That's
and
right,
then I
that's right.
stepped up. I was
That's
like,
right.
"Everybody, get down to that room. I'll cover you."
So I'm going to get down that room.
yeah,
and
you
see.
you move through that room, and I
Yeah.
think we'll just say we've
Or
passed
should I
this.
attack this guy? Because he's still there, you know.
We're fine.
And he's kind of in the way, too, right? You said he was in the way.
And there are
Yeah, but Forfax is gonna
potentially
intercept it.
unlimited
Alright.
versions
Okay.
of him.
Because he did that guard move.
Right, that's cool. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go down there. I'm gonna try to see if there's anything Numenera-wise in this room that might be able to stop this quantum fluctuation of whatever's going on with this dimensional husk.
All right, since we've learned it from Kele's vision, I think it's been relayed. Of like you see relay. It's been
You related to
relay.
It's
So did she
relayed
come?
to relay.
Did Kele come out of this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think as you
Yeah,
see
I definitely
relay
would have
run
been
past-
like, power cord down the hall.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know, we saw another
Did
version.
you give me
of
the
you
speedboat
run
or the
away.
filament? I can't remember. I think it's the speedboat. Never
the
mind.
seed boat. Yeah,
Never mind.
I think it was.
Oh, it's Super Candy Night, isn't it?
Sour Punch straws.
Candy night.
It's candy night here.
Yeah,
at Material
massage
Components.
changer.
Candy night is when all the
Candy
material
land.
components
And
do
a big party.
All right, never mind. So, yeah.
All right, so you run into this room and you see something. I mean, your character didn't see it, but something similar to this crazy power core that I was just describing. But it is like totally deteriorated, and you're seeing this strange like blue electricity like arcing out from this thing, and you're getting, like you having understood Numenera, and like what. You've been in prior world ruins that have been like partially functioning like this before, and this is like an energy leak. It's an energy discharge that's
Right.
just like continually leaking out from this core, and that it's leaking chronal energy. It's leaking like time, like
Right.
distortion is like being.
Right. Gotcha.
So you can get to the panel. However, there's like this kind of crackling, strange chronal energy near it, so you'll have to make a speed defense to like.
Can I
Avoid it
overload it
as you're-
and short it out completely?
You could try it.
Is it time?
Or should I just go over there and try to cut it off?
The other guy. The other guy tried to overload it.
Yeah, I'm going to try to cut it off.
He created
I'm
a
going to
time
do a speed
loop and
defense.
then
Or was he trying to like
Trying to
turn
shoot
it off or
himself.
something?
I guess I'll use an effort.
For
The speed is
eternity.
11 right now. Well, 10 right now.
That's the most terrifying thing ever.
And this isn't necessarily like you're seeing that it's chaotically like arcing. So I'm saying you run up to the thing, not necessarily thinking, oh, I'm gonna have to dodge, but you get up to it and you're like punching in,
Yeah.
you're working
I
with
got
it or
you.
whatever, and then one of these arcs just like leaps out and you
I
have to
got
like
you.
dodge out of the way.
The 15 with effort,
Yes.
do it.
Yeah, totally. As it's moving towards you, there's like this weird sense that like literally time slows, like a ripple, like a sonic wave is like coming out before it from this visual effect, and it hits you and you feel like the part that is like pushing past you is moving slower than the rest of your body.
Right.
Like not even that it's perception, but it literally is slowing down time in this kind of arc. So you just narrowly manage to move past the arc, and then it retracts,
Do I
and
have-
then you're punching.
Can
And
I
give
do
me
it?
an intellect, and this is like understanding Numenera. I think would make sense, and you can use
Yeah.
effort as well.
Alright. So I'm going to use effort on that to.
Ooh, and I have like an engine machine.
Shoot,
Nice, that's a minor effect.
it's
Yeah.
hot dice
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah.
Dude.
Alright.
GW.
Alright. That's going to be good. So that's a minor effect. What's that give me? An 18 with effort.
is the engine.
Awesome.
You got an 18 with effort.
Yes,
All right.
perfect. All right, so you're like frantically like working your way through these crazy alien menus, but you're like, I've seen every kind of different crazy alien menu possible, and so you're like able to figure it out. And you like sit down in front of a Mac, and you're like, or you know,
Right.
some other operating system.
It's
and
the
you're
old
like,
Matrix.
okay,
It's the old.
I can figure this out.
Like what is it?
It's not
Battle
an
Angel
apple, it's
hands.
an
My
orange.
hands flash over.
Yes.
You know.
And you navigate through some menus, and you find the sliders, and you just like
Yeah.
are able to pull them down and put up a containment field, and the energy is like retracting and pulls back in, and then there's this this glowing field that contains it, and the energy is still like going nuts inside of it.
Okay.
But the field has totally contained it,
Contained,
and it's
yeah.
not like going nuts in the room anymore. Yeah.
How much percentage of the containment do I have though? Is it like 100% completely contained, or like 98, or?
Yeah, you succeeded.
Okay,
so
I'm
it's,
good. I'm
It's
good.
in this thing, yeah. And you feel like for the foreseeable future, this thing will hold.
Does this guy stop
shell.
ring going? Does the guy stop ring going on the floor over there? You know, does he stop shifting?
Actually, the all the different forms at once
Yeah.
flicker to the ghost form, and then
Right.
from the ghost form they start flickering between ghost and like disappearing,
Wow.
and then they just vanish altogether.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm like, okay, well, things seem to be normal with you guys. You know, nothing's been changed since. This isn't being sarcastic. You know,
Yes.
all right, because every time I'm with you guys, stuff happens like this. You know. All right. Well, yeah. So we stopped the thing.
And this is to clarify, it's in the palm. The room that you guys are in right now, where the power core was, is in the palm of the
okay.
hand, right? And it seems like, Kele, when you step into it, you're like, this is ripe for picking.
Oh yeah.
All of this machinery is still like functional, even if it's all like pretty ancient and weird. You could salvage good stuff from it.
Is it 7 fingers? I don't have no room.
And 2 thumbs.
Hilu is freaking out. What was that? What in the world was that?
That was a extra dimensional or quantum disturbance. One of the two. You know,
What?
Extra chronal.
extra chronal disturbance. Yes. You gotta use
Yeah.
the right terminology for the right
I
thing.
just don't. What?
All right.
I mean, what happened to that person?
Someone created a field of time, pure time, which slowed down all of the chronal energy in this area. And multiple instances of time have reoccurred here for Lord knows Mechadon knows how long. All right.
You definitely get the sense that this power core was fueled with like some kind of crazy like quantum engine. Like it was fueled by like chronal energy, and it like when it blew up, it like totally messed up this dude. Right? He got all of his different quantum cells like all tangled together.
He didn't get a chance to leap at all.
So he's dead?
His suffering is ended.
You could say that, I bet.
Okay.
And he did look pretty relieved as he faded from existence.
Looked like old Ben at the end of the first one.
Totally.
You can barely handle existing in one time, Kilo. I'm not surprised that it freaks you out.
I mean,
Then I just like rip him a panel to salvage. I'm looking for anything.
Yeah, but we saw a second version of you run out of this building. So.
yeah, I thought you were gone. Well, or there are more of you.
Like who's the right one? Who's the correct one?
The one that's here now, I'm gonna go with, but there was a
Oh, yeah.
That's
version
the
that
one
ran
that's
out.
relevant to you at least.
So I guess that was a split in the timeline, right?
Cool.
That's what usually happens. Yeah, they split, and then there's other stuff going on that needs to be resolved, and it might not be the one that you expect.
They can resolve their own shit.
Right.
Roll the
Whatever y'all
6, but
say.
specialized. Looking for anything.
Looking for anything.
Yeah,
And you rolled a 6 on the die.
correct.
That is not going to succeed.
All right. So
But
we,
specialized, right?
yes,
Okay. I don't think it succeeds though.
that's fine. That just means that we find only one unit part. So we do find a unit part.
One unit of parts.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good. We have 174 parts.
That's exactly the number that we wanted.
We have 175.
And then I guess I'll try again in the same area and take the hindrance,
Then I'm
Okay.
contemplating.
which just would cancel out my
There's a lot of
specialization,
handling.
right?
I'm gonna quit.
Basically.
It would turn it to trained, yeah.
Oh, it's hindered by 2 steps.
Oh, by 2 steps?
Yeah.
Well, I think there's actually multiple sources
Okay.
that you can salvage from in this same room, so it's not gonna be hindered.
That's an 8.
You're just rolling so bad.
Well, we just need some parts. 1 unit at a time.
Get 1 cup.
This room's ripe with parts.
If
Sometimes it's
if
just
someone
outdoors.
are you using effort or anything?
No,
Okay.
not yet.
I could scan the room and tell her where all the good
Scanning and someone else aiding, I think would make that one succeed. We could retroactively say we scanned the room.
stuff is. Right.
I can't aid.
No,
because
I
I'm-
don't want to take it.
Okay.
We're
You
gonna
don't
do this the hard way.
Okay, never mind.
You don't want me touching
No.
anything.
All right. Well, on the next roll.
Not the
Yeah.
redo.
Oh.
She'll take the scan.
I got a 17.
Okay.
Scan.
Right?
Alright.
That's what you were saying.
Yes.
You
So
went-
Relay comes in and
I
scans
got
the
an
room
edge
and
on
is
it,
like,
so it's already good.
"This is the best spot
This is
right
why
here."
you keep finding 1 unit part at a
It's
time.
like it's not here. It's over here, next to the actual power core. You know, these are all of the circuitry. It's still working. It's good over here, right?
Yeah, and you
Something
get
like that.
you get a sense of like you're able to navigate to find like this is the stuff that's going to control this like field, and so we don't mess with this, but this is the stuff
Okay.
that was like you
All
know,
the stuff around the
Getting
flux
power.
capacitor, leave that alone. Right.
That shit broke.
All right, so you're shifted or you're eased by 3 steps.
But hindered by.
No, you're not hindered yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I told you it was
Stop
right.
it.
Yes.
Oh, boom!
Nat 20.
It's
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Take that.
Oh,
Alright,
that's
let's
gonna
see.
be like epic level.
We now have
it's an
a
actual.
bag full of time straight
Right.
out of the energy core.
A bag full of parts.
And when you open it, it's that guy
A
screaming.
bag full of a bag with a box
Ooh,
with 1 unit of parts.
Boost.
Right. In that box contains the entire
Has
universe.
your paper thing
So
gone
when you
off
pull
yet
on it,
today?
Not yet.
Futurama's dope.
It has not
Going
gone
off
off today
the-
yet.
I think
All right.
Kevin
Give
here
me
for that.
4
All right.
percentile rolls.
Okay.
Does somebody want to partner with me on this effort and read the description of these things from Destiny? Who would be into that?
I'll do that.
This will be under like crafting, iotum. It's on. I don't have the page number.
This is a 15, which is that responsive civ?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I
yes,
get.
yes,
Do I need
yes,
to
yes.
roll?
He starts dancing because he just ran out of.
Do I need to
responsive
roll since I was looking for anything on the random salvage result table,
He's punching the dog and it's just absorbing the.
or does something special happen?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We could roll on that 4 times if you'd like.
Oh, I just meant.
Iotum result table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
But then on the pages that follow, it describes each of the different things.
Well, I guess I was asking, like, doesn't this first determine what I find? Or is there a special...
Yeah. But are you looking, well,
I was looking for anything.
you were looking for anything?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's roll once on the random salvage result, and then we'll just have that happen
Right.
4 times, yeah.
Okay.
And you know, it should be 5 times, because you had a nat 20.
That's a 1, which is 1d10 shins plus
Oh,
parts.
that's no fun, though. Roll again. I'll give you shins.
1d10 shins and an oddity or 2 plus parts.
Oddity.
This table is driving me nuts. Just the way that we're rolling is just unfortunate, right? You're like nat 20, and then you roll the worst to see like what things you're getting.
You got $5 and a bottle of half bottle of Coke.
Sometimes that's all that's there.
All right,
that's all
so
that's there.
give me 2 more rolls then, and we'll just go entirely with
Some
this.
maple syrup.
You got 2d10
Shake like
shins
an old
plus
lady.
parts and an oddity right now.
Yes.
Oh man.
What'd you roll? A 3
A
again?
Yeah, of course.
So we got 3d10 shins. 2 oddities. Go ahead. Awful. Okay, 4d10 shins.
6.
All right, 3 rolls on the item result
All right.
table.
So we had a 15. And I guess I need to find out how many units. So 2 units of responsive sin.
Mhm.
What happened? I got an 80, but is there a cutoff
Responsive
based
sin.
off of the level of this place?
There is, but
All these
that doesn't
things
reach it
Okay.
because it was an 8.
So we got
You got 2 units of Sirenium. Sirenium.
yup.
Alright, so responsive synth, Randy was asking what that is. Says
Oh.
though scrap synth is everywhere, a rarer variety of synth exists upon which instructions can be etched. It's durable but not particularly strong material. Can be worked into nearly any configuration and still retain its durability.
It's like
That's-
C4 putty.
One unit is about 3 pounds.
That's
You
what I
can-
made
You can etch instructions into it.
the
Weird.
Cool.
What
What
is
is
it?
the
The
water
other thing was,
Sirenium will be with a P, and it's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
be later
douse
on.
the house.
When salvaged Sirenium usually takes a thick disc-like form about 10 inches across that is surprisingly light and heft. Sirenium reacts to hopes and desires as well as specific mental instructions.
Oh, please do this right.
When used as an additional component in a crafting task, 2 units of Sirenium ease the assessed difficulty on the task.
Wow.
Uh,
I didn't know
if a
these
unit
things had this kind of power.
if a unit of Sirenium is
Shit, before I
pressed,
start crafting.
Yeah, each one has its own little thing.
Keith, here's a ringfall moment for you. If a unit of Sirenium is pressed into the user's head,
Oh
the
man.
user can attempt to telepathically communicate with the creature within long range that the user knows about.
So you just like take Nano straight to the head.
Difficulty of the task is equal to the creature's level.
You
Contact lasts for a
see
minute,
Helu
but
thinking
damages the
about
user's mind, inflicting 3 damage.
shoving this into his
And
brain
using
to
it to
talk to his
destroy
dog
it.
from long distance.
Yeah.
But chooses to not do it anyway.
And one more.
The dog that's gonna die
12.
in 24
12
hours.
IO.
28. Yeah.
4 units of IO.
All right. So we got.
Ayo!
Did you get all that, Daniel? 4 units of IO, 2 responsive synth, 2 Sirenium.
And then 6
Definitely.
E10
Yeah, I don't know. It's not working
shins.
6d10
Don't
shins.
look at
Yeah.
An oddity or 2.
Yeah.
yet.
2
And
oddities.
some parts.
It's weird.
Yeah. 8 times 4 is 24 units of parts.
You're welcome. That's what you wanted.
I love parts.
And then give me 4.
Never use them, but I like.
Was it
carrying them
4d10?
I
Or
can't
3d10.
remember. I rolled a 1, a 2, a 1, a 3, and a 6.
So 4.
Okay.
5, because each one has a d10
Okay.
shins. Yeah.
Oh boy. Alright. 2, 8, 7.
And is it that she's actually finding shins or stuff that is worth that amount
Stuff
of
that's
shins?
worth, yeah. You're like, this is like copper.
This wiring or
copper
whatever.
wiring.
Yeah.
This is like, these are some shiny rocks. These are like buttons pried from a computer that are like,
Fuses.
Perfect. So it was total 200 gens.
dang. Yeah.
A lot of shins.
Shin, yeah.
All shin.
Yeah, what'd you
You
say?
guys want to split it?
You guys talking to me?
I don't need those stupid things.
My
Just give me the
character
parts.
will always take shins.
Yeah. Split them 5 ways. That's easy, huh?
Wait, 200?
It should be 20.
20, yeah. I was like, that
Did
seems
I
like a
say
lot.
200? That
I was
is
like,
a
that
lot.
seems like a lot.
Yeah, it's just like, I'll take that.
Wait a minute.
I
Yeah.
almost said that.
Okay, fight.
Okay.
Some excited
later.
math.
20.
I love that.
Great.
I think that was
Because
just
Yeah, the-
misspeak it. Like
the
the
10
math
the
was
10
right.
part.
There was just
So
another
we're each gonna get
zero.
4.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're all
Much
got
has been
4.
salvaged.
You can keep my shins. I don't want them.
You're gonna change your mind the first time you meet someone on the roadside asking for shins and none of the rest of us give them any, and then you're gonna say, Kele, Kele, Kele.
No, that's not true. Okay, I'll take
It's
them.
happened before.
Okay, I'll take them.
Yeah, if we meet him in the next 24 hours, you can give him that damn dog.
When I went through that temporal shift you guys all saw, I saw the future where this happens. It's going to happen in
Are you serious?
14 days. Yeah, dead serious.
All right.
Orphex just looks at you and he's like, I don't believe you. And then walks out of the room.
I believe you. That's awesome. I'll definitely take the shins.
That's a joke. I get it. That's a joke. That's a joke.
Kele doesn't get it.
Right.
the droid gets it.
Right. Ha
Autumn with the
ha
hunt.
ha
Aha.
ha ha.
And the Dimensional Husk was defeated, but we do still have. We're in the main hand room, which is kind of the palm. There's 7 fingers
Yeah.
and 2 thumbs, if you guys wish to do so.
Oh. Yeah,
We
we're
have to-
already in here.
we have to
We
do-
might as well, right?
We gotta.
Yeah, you should.
Should we split
I'm not
up to,
doing
to
anything.
cover more ground?
I
I
can't.
think we should definitely split up.
I don't like split. I'm a scared.
We'll be close enough to each other.
Sounds good to me.
It's more interesting that way.
I mean, I can walk
And
through these things, but
the
I'm not gonna
dog
touch any of it.
just goes sprinting
Shaggy and
into.
Scooby go sprinting.
Well,
into-
so
Yeah.
you're really
Would
like
you
the only
do
one
it
that
for
can
a
salvage
Scooby
here,
snack?
yeah?
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I was going to say, I feel like I should be with Relay, because I need that.
I'm
feed.
gonna
This
tell
is
her what
getting
good
to help
stuff
you
is.
like
Yeah.
find the good stuff, yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whatever this thumb is, the awkward thumb, that's the one I'm headed into.
Okay.
We'll go to the counter awkward
On the outside of this thing, are these fingers up or are they on the ground?
They were
They were like,
slightly
yeah,
up,
they were kind of like this.
I thought so. I thought it was
Yeah.
like, kind of like up. Okay.
Like, I think
So
it
you
was
have
like
to incline, walk
tall
up.
enough that we
I'm looking-
ostensibly could have
So
thrown
I think
a rope
I'm in
and
the-
gotten up there,
the
but it wasn't
thumb
practical.
I'm
pointing
looking
toward
for
the.
Yeah.
I was
While they're doing
maybe
what
too
they're
soon.
doing,
Pink-
I'm
the
gonna look
pinky
for an
thumb.
exit.
The pinky
I
thumb.
can't remember. I
The
probably
pinky thumb.
See, while they're doing whatever they're gonna do, I'm gonna look for see if there's a hatch
Secret tunnel
to open up one of these.
through the mountain.
Just because I can't.
The fingers.
Yeah, I can't actually like look for Numenera or do any of the Numenera stuff. So.
Yeah, I mean, if he's going off in the opposite direction of those two, I'm just like, I'll make sure he doesn't die. And follow Kilo.
Whatever. I won't pull
Well,
out.
all right.
But whenever you all get
Don't
into your respective rooms,
recommend this
it
course
gets,
of
you know,
action.
like it gets quieter, you know, but you hear
And
this
then we start
echoing noise of that.
Everybody jumps at the sound of it.
And you just hear me go, oh, right!
All right, so I'll just kind of summarize the way that this goes down. Is you guys are going through these fingers and you're finding glass panels. You guys see them as the glass panels, but they're like computer screens, right? Your characters aren't all entirely computer savvy, but and they're like flickering with just kind of random, like strange images. They seem like schematics, right? At one point, you're like, "Oh, these are schematics," and then Shant is like, "Oh, actually, like this is for this room that we were just in," and so together you're like, "Oh, it's flickering through like basically schematics for this hand." Right? It's like in some kind of like recovery mode, and it's like retreading like some kind of schematic information for the actual hand. Between you guys studying those in the fingers, you're able to identify some like really solid harvesting points on the 2 thumbs. It will provide 2 assets to you guys because you've studied these schematics for a good minute and figured out where the good spots are to salvaging and the thumbs, and so we can make 4 more salvage checks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any way I could, because I was thinking about this already, searching for actual, like, Numenera blueprints?
Searching for blueprints.
Like,
I think
crafting.
I think that there's a possibility of you getting seeds on that table.
Yep, plant seeds. On an 85 or 86.
You can definitely like trade for them too with people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't think. I didn't know how rare they were. I didn't realize it was something that we could actually, like, people would actually have on hand.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. You could trade like IO for them and
Gotcha.
whatnot. Yeah.
I don't really need it. Like, I probably wouldn't go after it because I still have 2 I haven't actually, like, chosen.
And you
yet.
definitely get them through like leveling up.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Well, anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
Just curious.
So we're getting double asset from our studying of the schematics. So that will shift it 2 steps.
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna go for anything because that's the only way to find some of the stuff.
Okay. Well, the first one you don't choose because I have a thing that
cool.
is that you'll specifically find. So.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's anything.
Yes.
12.
A 12. All right. So you're salvaging in this in one of the spots that was pointed out, and it was actually Shent that had pointed it out when he was studying the schematics.
Thanks.
That you were like pretty keen on this being situated like an armory, right? You're like, oh, this part of this thumb, I think there's going to be weapons in there, the way that it looks like on the schematics, and getting there, salvaging through it, like it definitely is weapons, but they're all broken, right? But shuffling through like all these parts and all this like these like what we as players would know over like clips and whatnot for all these different crazy guns, you do find a slug spitter, which is an artifact. Someone could look it up. It's on page 301
Probably
of
AK-47.
Discovery.
You know?
Yeah,
Right. You
seriously.
know, the most durable rifle ever.
Like slugs, like
Like
bullet
Like
slugs.
bullets, yeah, I believe, yeah.
It's not actually
I really hope they're real
slugs.
slugs.
You know?
It is like entirely intact, though it isn't working. Like the trigger
bag
is
of
jammed, so you guys will
Yeah,
have
that's
to.
like throwing a water balloon. That shit just blows.
All right,
up
it's a
as
long
soon as it
device
gets
with
out of the tube.
a narrow metal tube. The effect with a quiet sound like a puff of air. This device fires a tiny slug of metal up to long range, very long range at the artifact level 6 or higher, and inflicts damage equal to the artifact's level.
So it still doesn't necessarily say that it isn't a slug.
Well, it's
But
a
it just-
tiny
it-
slug of metal.
Yeah.
It's a gun. I mean,
It's a metallic slug.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mercury.
That is an AK-47.
And you guys all get an XP for finding an artifact.
Y'all get an
Yeah.
experience
That's an
point for that?
artifact?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So that is a weapon that shoots. What's its? So how does
Roll-
that
roll
work, right?
Probably a D6. Maybe pull that up again.
Like the damage, it's like a percent to
actual
see if it
rifle?
works.
So
right?
our
It's a
artifact.
depletion. It's a depletion rate.
Yeah, it's a depletion. So it'll say a dice, like it'll say like a 1 on a D10. So every time you use it, you roll a D10, and if you roll a 1, it stops working.
This thing
Oh,
is never
God.
gonna deplete. It's a 1 or a 2 on a D100.
Nice. Cool.
That's not necessarily true. Don't say it.
And what did it say?
What is it?
that-
What is its level?
Say that.
1d6 plus 1.
All right, so roll a D6. This is an important D6 roll.
I'm not gonna be shooting any guns. But it's a
3.
plus.
So it's a level 4. So this thing inflicts 4 damage
Okay.
at very long range.
That's cool.
yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
medium range. That's a medium weapon. I mean.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty rad.
So just the
You got to fix it first, though. It's broken.
Okay.
It's disabled. Like it's jammed.
I could probably take a look at this, but we're only gonna use it to hunt.
You're mistaken.
Let's be clear about
We'll
this
start
right
with
now.
target practice in what 26 hours.
No.
When Spongy here
Hey.
goes down.
We're gonna bury him.
All right, Sophie, give me a couple more rolls.
Out of the sand.
I believe the question is more so,
Oh shoot.
what will
Well, you can hold on to that one because that's a good one.
Yeah.
Right.
But give me the
I don't know.
give me the D20 roll first.
Okay.
And what are you looking for?
Anything.
Anything?
just
going there
too, man.
8.
So
Mm-hmm.
the weapon. What's its
And
fixed?
you're
It's basically just like an
specialized?
attack.
Correct.
Regular old attack. It's just a range. I'm like still
That succeeds.
Pathfinder mind. I'm like, so what's all the things?
Because you got a
Right.
double asset
It's
from
like,
the
no, you just wanna
schematics.
shoot
That's
it and
right.
roll your fucking-
That's an amber crystal.
Defense, I think.
An
Or some-
amber
speed- speed
crystal?
attack.
4 units of amber crystal.
Josh, amber crystal.
Crystalline structure, amber color.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Frontex are living in it.
It's the size of a finger.
Is this not Iotum?
It is, but it's not in alphabetical order. It's in order of like the strength
Oh,
of
that
the
makes
I
thing.
think I've probably got all the
So it'd be toward the
sure,
middle.
sure
maybe.
doesn't make it easy to find. There
No.
we go.
Yeah, it's
iota
kinda
like
strange, but-
sprawled out across Charlie's belly, and I'm like,
Amber crystal. This component resembles its name, but it's 20 times harder and tougher than steel. Holy smokes.
20 times.
Yeah. It also enjoys a self-repair capacity, which means that ciphers, artifacts, vehicles, installations, or true automatons made with amber crystal can last 4,000 or even 4,000s or even millions of years.
Dang.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Finally, it tends to cancel out its own weight when energy is applied.
I would like to use some
Amber
of that.
crystal can also be used for other purposes. When properly joined with a detonation cipher, the cipher's effective level increases by 1 per unit of amber crystal connected when it detonates.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Right, gives
I
us
think-
art and
I think
It
if
makes it a
it's-
bigger boom.
If it's successfully installed into Relay, I think we could do some kind of boost on your recovery rolls.
Yeah.
I think that would be
That'd be great.
that'd be logical.
And I can stop
Maybe a-
looking like this right here. You know,
Now you'll have
Alright.
like a cool amber color.
2 more.
Big old like side face.
8.
That succeeds
get
again.
my Thanos beard on with the amber color.
70. Protomatter.
Protomatter.
1
Ooh.
unit.
If I recall, protomatter. Read that one, Josh, because I think it's
Yeah.
like a bathtub size.
Normally found within etched strong glass canisters the size of small houses, protomatter appears as a chaotic soup of thick, bubbling fluid. Protomatter is dangerous in that it tends to dissolve and erase anything it comes into contact with, if not handled properly. Of course, this very quality can be used intentionally to destroy a solid object up to level 6 that is doused in protomatter.
Well, it's like
Failure indicates that the protomatter boils or surges unexpectedly, dousing everyone nearby, all of whom descend 1 step on the damage track. Either way, the protomatter is used up. Yeah, canister. 1 canister, 30 feet long, 15 meters wide. 15.
bad episode.
Sorry.
where they melted in a
30
bathtub.
feet long, 15 feet wide, weighing 8 tons.
Yeah. So you're not gonna be able to take that one anywhere.
I'm still trying.
Holy heck, man!
Yeah,
That
it
stuff
fills
is
the
crazy.
entire
finger.
thumb. Yeah.
It's a finger full of protomatter
But you got 1 roll left, right?
of a chaotic bubbling soup.
That's a 5.
Okay.
I think we're finding 1 unit of parts.
1 unit of parts.
Gotta love
Wait, is that 200?
200 exactly.
Yes.
Awesome. You know we were
Ding, ding,
gonna
ding.
have that 200 parts party, and we'll have to do it when we get
200.
back.
All right.
Parts party.
What are you guys doing now?
You're invited to a party of my
I
dance.
think we ought to.
Is that pretty much everything in this place that can be salvaged? Or?
This is now a place that you can, as a long-term action,
Like
do the
return
routine
to,
salvaging
yeah.
to, because the
Mhm.
threat has been eliminated
Cool.
from it.
Okay,
So yeah,
cool.
you can still do that, but from these rolls, unless you want to continue rolling and getting the hindrance. It won't
That was going to be
close
my
anything.
question. So, but if we come back like at a later time, will there still be the hindrance because we have already like scoured this area once?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if we do it now or later,
Mhm.
but we still know that it's here if we need to
Yeah.
go back.
Yeah, and the long-term action, you can be like, I'm looking for a particular iotum, and it takes a month, and then you're like, because this place exists, we can use the long-term actions to salvage from it.
Gotcha.
We can send one of our most unliked people from the city out here with a wheelbarrow to get some of that proto
The
matter.
proto matter.
Right.
Or we can throw people that we really don't like into the proto matter vat.
Let me go show you this hand we found. It's a thumb. It has some
There's a
really
speed
cool
walk there,
stuff
though,
in it.
you know.
And when you guys emerge from the arm,
Dip
you
your
do
toe.
notice that the ground near that thumb, like underneath that thumb, is like there's just like a pit that like some dripping of the proto matter has like basically just dissolved like organic material to make this small like divot in the ground. You see a drip like
Awesome. Proto matter drip.
the blue tongues are nervously kind of standing near the entrance when you guys step out.
Kele walks up and goes,
They can extend them.
They're like hurrah!
Huzzah.
And then they're like cheering and like running around, and the blood barms are like kind of
each other.
the blood barms are like bounding around you guys.
To the blood sacks, kind of like,
Yeah.
wow, man.
They kind of
Yeah,
move
there's like-
a
they're like-
weird animation on
Oh.
that's not quite.
These are like
gravity-created.
turkey-sized creatures that are like entirely composed of like bloody like water balloons,
Ugh.
basically.
Yeah, they're
like
gross
they're like
looking.
pustules.
They're gross.
There you pull them up in the core book.
So you start pulling the Ewok on this, right?
Taylor,
Hey!
thanks for joining us.
Burn the blood barms.
Should burn them all.
Man. That shit would swing.
Yeah.
So are you guys planning on? Because it was like 3 days away from the Amber Keep.
Damn, was it that far?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think probably heading back. So, yeah, there's still more of these blue tongues here. I mean, I would probably be kind of cool with traveling with them because they're coming
Can
to the
you eat
Amber
these
Keep
turkey
too, aren't they? Or
Yeah.
aren't some of them?
It's not really
They
clear.
tried it.
Like
Yeah.
three of them
Remember when
left.
you tried to eat one
Oh,
of the
they already
blood barms?
left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the leader and two of them left, and they brought with like a herd of their blood barns.
Okay. Well, then I would be interested in. I mean, obviously they're going in the same direction, but like following their tracks and maybe catching up with them,
Yeah.
and then like camping with them. And
Dead animals.
Cool.
if we're gonna be traveling back, we might as well travel with these new people and establish the relationship.
Indeed.
More.
Yeah, they left probably just a few hours ago. You guys
We could
spent a
catch
couple
them.
hours
Mm.
salvaging.
Yeah, they
and whatnot.
tried to eat the
Catch up
blood.
to 'em.
Didn't we try to eat the blood barbs last time? I don't. Oh,
I
I
did.
think
Some
my
people
character
did.
did.
I did.
They're one of my favorite creatures, so I always
They were
bust them out
tasty.
because they're so gross.
I think my character did out of a like need to be on their level. I don't remember what happened.
Yeah, I think they
It's
served.
okay.
They like served you guys some kind of dish that was like.
I can imagine.
Oh,
if
they're like just bite into
if
the.
you cook it, it
the
turns into
siege
like
rate,
egg
that's like
yolk.
the
Only it's
Yeah, that was what we were saying when they were like blood sausage, right?
okay.
They had been like boiled, so it was like kind of coagulated and
Yes.
thick. Yeah.
Man,
Delicious.
egg yolks.
All right, so you guys travel for a time
Yes.
back towards Amber Keep.
It's nasty,
I mean,
man.
I'll eat it.
It looks like
I don't wanna think
a
about it.
lemur or emu or something made out of
Just a reminder.
Yeah.
a llama made out of like bloody balloons. Just what it looks like.
seriously, it looks so cute.
So gross. And you guys catch up to the
Taylor, do yourself a favor. Look up a picture of a blood barm.
A blood barm. We could put
B-A-R-M.
we could put it under the camera.
It's barmy.
Oh, too late.
Yeah, I think we tried before and it didn't fit.
Yeah, there's too much blood.
Blood.
Too
yeah.
bloody.
You guys catch up to the leader and his cohorts, and they've set up camp for the night, and they were like singing around the campfire when you guys arrived, and they welcomed you warmly and whatnot, and so you hung with them, and then you traveled the rest of the way back to the Amber Keep with them, and along the way sparked like a pretty good friendship with the leader. He seems like,
Cool.
or it's not really clear what any of their genders are, but they seem like so amiable and like peaceful. They're just like these kind of chill like farmer
I
types.
like these people.
And you get the impression from stories that they tell to you around the campfire that they were in a different place in the cold desert, and their like village was destroyed. So somewhat in the last like it's hard to tell by the way that their stories are being told, right? But at some point in recent history, their village was destroyed, and they all kind of like sought out a new place to live, and they found the arm, and even though it was like haunted and not quite right, they like chose that for a time. But that they're interested in seeing what a world that you're building.
Awesome.
Are they able to communicate? Like, I assume that we're like drawing pictures and making gestures.
Yeah, totally.
What destroyed the village?
I don't know. I just made this up right now.
Sandstorm.
Yeah, it was the same epic sandstorm. No, that was some world-ending stuff.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was actually a iron wind, which is something that you guys have heard stories of. So in one of the prior worlds, there were like nanites, like clouds of nanites, right? And now they are like sandstorms.
Yeah.
So they will occasionally like they are sentient and moving. Maybe something's controlling them, or maybe they just all activate at once and then fly in a particular direction. But they're like microscopic like machinery, and like an entire storm of them will like completely flay people and destroy villages. And they call it the Iron Wind. So it's
That's great.
it's a thing that is feared like across all cultures in the Ninth World. So they like most of their village and the people in it were killed, and they like managed the
Imagine
few
what that would do to some
survived.
blood barms. There's literally nothing worse for blood barms than the Iron Wind. They just pop them instantly.
It'd be a mess. It'd be a total mess.
Blood.
You know, when
I imagine that
just pop
Forfax
all at
is
once.
talking with these people. They are abhuman, right?
Yeah.
So Forfax is going through some. He's like processing some feelings
Some
right
stuff.
now because
Some growth.
the Angulan Knighthood, who he works for, is anti-abhuman. But he's encountering these people who seem to be really peaceful and amiable.
Yes.
They seem
And
like cool little guys.
and it's like raising some questions for him. Making notes of it in his journal,
And actually at one point
scribbling.
the leader like points at your sigil
Mhm.
and like is curiously inquiring about what this thing is.
I communicate to him in you know the rudimentary kind of language that we're using of drawing things. Basically, just that we are knights that protect people. I'll just say people and like defeat monsters.
But you're cool though. You're cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get into the fact that we normally are against
I
abhumans.
feel like that would be a difficult distinction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It
It's a hard
would
conversation
be.
to have.
Yeah.
It would be. And I feel like in a way, like at its core, that's what the Angulan Knighthood is about. It's not really necessarily that it's, I mean, it is like anti-abhuman, but it's more so because of protecting the human race than being like, you know, genocidal to abhumans or something, right?
Yeah.
It's more so that like abhumans are tend to be maybe more warlike or nasty than humans or something like that.
The leader like tucks its shoulder, like its back against you, and like pulls your arm over its chest, and then like pulls your other arm like out, like
So I'm hugging it from behind.
you're hugging it, but he's like holding your other arm out like as if
Like,
you're wielding
what
a
are we
sword,
doing?
and then
Uh-huh.
he like holds your like hand and is like like showing that like you protect
yes.
them.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
like,
No, I put down my sword and I raise my shield and put it up in front of him, and I'm like, you know, like protect.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns around and just like embraces you. and you have a moment where you like glance like sidelong at the head, and like there's like 3 or 4 eyes that are just like looking at you, like on the side of his scalp and his head.
That's fucking that's horrible.
Cool.
You look up and Kaylee's right next to you, just teetering.
Just right there, yeah.
Shift the frame and keep
Exactly.
Right there.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, and I think Forfax probably doesn't like express
Billy and
or
Mandy, get it now, get it now.
handle his emotions really like well. You know, he probably is kind of like, he has the moment and realizes how profound it is, and then that kind of like, oh, wait, this is weird, you know?
All right, you guys arrive at the Amber Keep, and as you're approaching, because you're like, you seem like quite a bit more complex than just the 5 people that left, or you know, there's like 3 extra people that are like strange looking, and then there's this like herd of
Blood
animals approaching, right? So you see several people who the wall is like totally finished, and they're starting to build like some like little like rudimentary stone rampart kind of structures, right? Like watchtowers, and someone is like standing out watch on one of them and is like squinting at you guys and is like shouting back into the village, and so as you're approaching, Tasala comes out with like several people that are armed, like looking like kind of suspiciously, and then one realizes that it's you guys. Tasala's like, "Friends, you've returned!" and then looks like kind of sidelong at these other strangers and is like, "And you brought someone with you."
Our new friends, of course.
The leader of the Blue Tongues does this like long 2-tongue and then like strides forward and like just embraces Tasala, and you can tell it's like this one really strange moment of like, what is going on?
Forfax smiles at that because he's got a contentious relationship with Sala.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? That was, we
Yeah.
set up that relationship, professional, contentious relationships.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the leader of the Blue Tongues actually says in the language of the truth, "Friends." Gestures to everyone and is like, "Friends, friends," right? Has been like picking up words from you guys, right?
Yes.
And Sala's like, "Well, I suppose friendship could be in order." And the Blue Tongue looks at him kind of confusedly, like doesn't quite understand what he's saying, and then he gives like an affirmative, and like Tasala grabs his shoulders, and then the leader like turns to the other 2 and says something in its tongue, and the other 2 just like turn around and start marching back toward their village.
He's gonna go get all of his people and bring them back to this
Yeah.
He's
I
gonna
turned around and went back.
And Tasala hears you say that, and the leader has like moved into the village to the Amber Keep, and like is just like hugging people,
Right.
and they're all like kind of confused by it. But Tasala is like,
I love it.
"There's more of them?"
Oh yeah.
It's an entire tribe of them back at the hand.
And they're gonna come here.
I was just making an assumption. It's a logical, educated guess, but probably 75% chance that they'll definitely come back.
How are we gonna feed and house them?
They were fully self-sustaining on their own.
Indeed.
If anything,
They have.
I'm totally
did they
BSing
leave
this
some
guy
of the
right
blood
now.
barns here,
yeah,
or
I
is this
think
just?
we did come with a couple
Were there some blood
barns.
barns?
Yeah, they brought
Yeah.
a flock of them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like.
Well, they do have resources.
Provided a flock
Yeah.
for us that we can
well, I have
share with them.
I have had boiled blood barm before, and it is quite delicious.
I didn't know that those pustules grew back, so it's pretty much endless. It's delicious.
They've
Well,
lived
yeah,
here a
kind of.
lot longer than we have, so they would be the right friends to make.
We offered trade.
Well, then I commend you in this contribution to the Amber Keep. And you guys all get an XP
I'll take that.
for convincing the villagers to
I
come
was-
live at Amber Keep and be
I
part of
was
the new
just
community.
Joking, actually, I
Yay.
was like, they're probably going to bring. He's probably
No,
gonna
that kind of happened last session.
Yeah.
Where we had that conversation
Yeah,
with
it
them,
did.
and yeah, we kind of invited them to come check out the
Awesome.
Amber Keep.
You also get an XP for successfully
Hey.
salvaging at least 4 areas in the Mighty Arm. And you get another XP, so this will be
Four.
four total for this session.
Right.
Yeah, because we had the artifact, we had convincing the villagers, we had successfully salvaging the Mighty Arm, and another one for figuring out what structures to build
I know, right?
in the town of Amber Keep. Which, when you guys arrive at Amberkeep, Visso is excited to show this new water catchment that he has built, and he's like, "Don't get me wrong, I think that yours is like far superior and very interesting, but it's a bit problematic, and if it goes wrong, this will catch rainwater, and I know that it will work."
It's great.
I think it's soulless and depressing.
Well, it's functional.
Come on, it's great.
And you guys also notice
Don't be like that.
there's a lot more people here.
Okay.
Some 50 more people have arrived in the last days. There was another caravan that's arrived. So you still see the caravan like wagons parked outside of the village. And so more people from the Amber Gleaners have arrived to kind of reinforce the numbers. So at this point, the village is like at a population of 100.
That's nice.
Whoa.
And it is now a rank 1 community,
Hell yes.
and thus gains the community stats that all rank 1 communities possess, including 3 health, 3 infrastructure, and 1 damage inflicted. But that will probably be modified by what you've built.
We need defenses.
Sweet.
Yeah.
You said you guys built the outer wall and some domiciles, like some living places, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's all you've built so far. Right? And the water fountain. So we need like resources, like more water, maybe a better power source, if we don't already have one of those, and some defenses. All right.
And 1 local celebrity.
Okay, I have
Yeah,
a
we need-
request.
y'all build a cantina too, didn't you?
These
Somebody built
abhumans
a
need names
tavern or
because it
something?
feels weird now that they're living with us
yeah.
and I
Yeah,
know
yeah,
what they're
I
called.
didn't do it.
Yeah, well, the Blue Tongues
Okay.
My character
is the name of the
Selfish.
tribe. But yeah, what should the leader's name be? Let me give me a second, because I've got NPC cards.
Good.
I just remembered, did we actually finish the second month?
Lord
No.
Blueberry
Okay.
Jello.
We decided, well, we kind of did, but we also
Yeah.
decided to go do this thing midway.
Forfax
Okay, cool.
and Shunt both said, like, month 2 was going to be sprint training, and month 2 was going to be another month on
Training.
Barrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I, as a quick note on that, I realized later that Forfax is able to gain followers from Adurin the Leviathan,
Word.
but not until tier 2. So Keith and I talked about it, and he said it would be cool if essentially I've captured this cat, and I just have yet to actually be able to pull that out of him.
Cool.
And so right now I'm leveling up the NPC before I've actually been able to like dominate it.
Cool.
So I'm instead of doing the like gain an NPC, I'm doing the level up NPC right now.
Awesome.
And then once I hit tier 2, I will actually be able to command it, and then it can be a
Nice.
fighting one, because before I had a restriction where it couldn't be somebody that was good at like fighting. Yeah. So
All right.
That's what I'm doing.
The
Can I see
leader
this?
the leader is named
Thank you
Tennille.
very much.
Camille.
Tennille.
I'm sure that that's just a approximation of the leader's true name in our
Yeah.
pathetic phoneme.
Totally. It they have a lot of like t sounds in their language, but like a lot of different t sounds because they have 2 tongues. So they often
A
have
whole
like
lot of
all
ts.
kinds
They
of
can be
different.
Lot of
fricative
titties.
upon fricative upon fricative.
Yes. Fricative.
Just a waterfall of fricatives.
What is that word? Fricative.
It describes a specific phoneme.
Okay, so like sibilants, but like instead of S's, it's T's.
I think so.
Whoa.
Cool.
It's
What is
more
the word again?
specific.
Fricative?
Queen Google,
Exclamation
are you
point
here?
define.
Oh.
Do it in the chat. Exclamation point define.
I've never heard that word before.
And then however you spell it.
Fricative.
I think it's like that.
We're gonna find out.
A strong sound or
Yeah.
word that produces a strong friction in the vocal tract.
There you go. Cool.
Thanks, chat golem.
Thanks,
Fricative.
Jack.
Fricative.
Well,
All right.
You're killing it today.
So who hadn't done the second month?
I didn't have a full month.
I haven't
I
done
have-
very much.
Okay.
I have 3 weeks.
Okay, and Shag, do you have the long-term task?
I don't have that sheet.
Thanks,
sir.
that's-
I
Yeah.
potentially.
We
And-
roleplayed my second month, but I didn't get the benefit
Oh,
of it.
actually,
yet.
I know that I
Yeah.
have another one. Could someone lend the long-term task
I don't know if I have
sheet to
mine.
Shag?
It's the general ones are at the front, and then there should be some specific to your class.
Yeah, there's some
towards the
glaive
back.
one or nano ones like at the back.
Okay. Still another area of
I know what I wanted to do though.
It's a
There's
little
one
further
that
to get to the like
improves
class specific.
the
Yeah, I was
health
just
of
looking
the
through 'em.
community, and there is several different ways that you can do it.
Yeah.
And I was intrigued by the
Here you
idea of
go.
holding town halls and
Yes.
hearing everybody's opinions.
Cool.
And like nothing else in that, like
I think it's
selling
worth
baked
looking at that one
goods
first.
or like
that's kind of
healing
your
people,
specialty,
not
but,
up
I
Kele's
could see
alley, but I feel like
Kelly making some baked goods.
they would be like out of blood barns.
Yeah.
She would be selling them as cupcakes, but it would just be blood barn
Well,
pustules.
I'm gonna start this process right here.
Cool. Develop community knowledge.
Yeah, I'm already opening up a school. For,
Okay. Yeah, and it'll take 4 months, but you'll start it.
Yeah, there's a framework of a whatever shack that nobody was using. I put a sign up that says nanomancy, right? Right. It's just nanomancy. That's what it says on
Yeah,
the
it's
sign, right?
cool. Developing like a library, basically. Yeah.
You know,
Collecting knowledge and information. Cool.
I'll teach people stuff.
And what we've been doing to like describe it.
That's cool.
Let's start with that one.
We've been doing like a montage thing. So you're like each player will describe like, okay, you see Relay doing like this moment in time, and then skip forward like a couple weeks, and then this, and so you kind of describe the arc of a
Okay.
month of doing that, and you can think on it if you want a second.
Actually, I'm gonna step outside and do that right quick.
Okay.
Can we take a break? Is
That's
it
what I was
time?
gonna say.
Yeah, I think a
It's
break
probably
would be
good time for that.
a good plan. Let's do that. Let me set the timer real quick. We'll take a 15-minute break to stretch and get some liquids. And we'll catch you guys on the flip side as we return and finish off our months and then set up chapter 2 on the relics of the past arc, which is the one involving the machine god. And we will investigate where not Relay, the other one.
Radius.
Where Radius was taken.
Okay, because he's missing too.
Oh, gosh, we just can't keep our hands
This
on
doesn't
this
have
guy.
too
I know.
much stuff in it, does it?
Radius is the damsel in distress.
I
I'm
know,
serious.
totally.
But he's all beefy though.
Yeah.
He's a big
totally.
guy, but he's always in distress for some reason.
that's the
And she was a hard hitter too.
Move very
Can't
well.
move his
She's
arms.
like, oh no, I'm being taken again.
No, no.
All right, we'll catch you guys in 15. And we're back.
Hello.
Hey.
Greetings,
Did
friends.
we get shifted?
I almost wonder if that camera got shit. Got
Oh,
bumped.
I bumped it. I
no,
bumped
not
this
that
one.
one. Not that
This
one.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Point it more towards me, or towards Keith. I mean.
Okay, should I move
Turn it
that?
this
I'll
way.
do it. I'll do it.
I just want to make sure I rotate the correct piece.
Yeah, because it is funky. Also, this is the one that's got a glue issue.
There you go. Oh yeah.
That's better?
Yeah.
My
that's
bad.
Great.
Sorry,
Alright.
everybody.
That's it.
Sorry, crew. All right, we have just returned to the Amber Keep, and we're finishing off our second month of construction. And so I take it back. During that time, the blue tongues arrive
Yes.
and start integrating within the community. They're super friendly. However, when the blue tongues arrive in mass with all of their blood barms and whatnot, they react extremely suspicious to Kele. In fact, when they see Kele, they like are startled and start talking with the leader.
What'd you do?
I know what this is.
And the leader is like doing this and
Yeah.
Oh, she's
and,
cool,
and you guys
she's
are
cool.
starting to get a sense of their language too, just from like spending time with them, and it's basically being like, no, she's been here this whole time.
Yeah.
And then the leader asks you guys of like, my friend says Kele kill one of my people, like animal, savage, leap with stone,
Wow.
and strike. Not true,
Yeah.
friend.
Not Kele.
No.
I don't even know if I can pick up a stone.
Evil twin.
Yeah.
Well.
You want to make a persuasion check? Oh yeah. Ah.
5 fingers. This is yeah. 2 thumbs.
The
I thought
leader.
it was a flying bird.
The leader picks it up and continues explaining, and they make the gesture that they were making of like the flickering and whatnot, so they like confirm it. Yes,
Yeah.
that
It's
she was
the curse.
she was flickering
Yeah.
in the way that the ghost was in the hand, but still the others, this like number 2 man of the so we've got Tennille as the leader. And we'll say his
Captain? No, never mind.
it's Neil.
Yeah.
I thought it sounded familiar. And I need a Katol is the number 2, who seems very suspicious of Kele.
Doesn't trust it. Or the flickering. It's like, nope, no.
And relays that thing is still out there.
I want to make a persuasion to this fellow who's acting suspicious, and basically just like kind of reiterate what we've said, that the haunting within the hand, that was the hauntings doing. It is not my friend's doing at all. That it like made a copy of her, but that you have left there now, and that you will no longer be haunted. Persuasion. I'm gonna ease it, just use effort, just because I can, and it's already eased another time. So I got 2 steps eased, so I'm at a 4.
Yeah.
Cool.
Katol,
No.
The sound of her
Katol
voice.
seems confused by your communicating, but the leader like has been picking up a lot of your guys' language, and so like bridges this kind of communication gap and is like insistent. And Katol was also moved by like the cadence of your voice.
Yeah,
and
that's
the
how
elegance
I
of
was
your-
imagining it, is that kind of that the leader was translating for me.
Yeah.
So it's not that I'm like stumbling over my words and trying to figure out what to say to him, but I'm delivering it like I mean it, and like I
Yeah.
well, I mean, just sincerely, like
Yeah.
no, this is not the person that you're fearing. Yeah.
Yeah, Katol seems satisfied with this and is understanding, and has had friends in the past die by the ghost, and so was like extra kind of suspicious and cautious, but greets you with the like shoulder grasping thing. I think there's also probably like a tilting head forward
So you
thing.
can see that.
So that's-
touching temples.
Yeah, so that all the eyeballs.
Oh, the
like,
eyes.
Yeah.
Touch eyes.
Touch eyeballs.
Touch eyeballs. Like go close so that your eye, like all your eyes are close to
So you can see
friends'
each other.
eyes. Yeah, you
You
can see
can
each
really
other.
see each other.
That's alright.
Yeah.
Can you see me now?
And
Eyes
then
always open. Or just...
they blink. Yeah, totally. And then the
Too many
the leader
eyes.
the leader Tennille takes hold of Katol and is like gesturing grandiloquently towards the fountain and takes like several of the blue tongues towards the fountain, and they like are kind of like the fountain sprays him in the face as he's approaching, and they all like burst out laughing, and then they're all kind of goofing off and just like
At
fascinated
least
with
the
this.
blue tongues have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're trying to figure out like where the water comes from and stuff like that. They're all like feeling around and trying to like it's a magician's act or something. That they're,
I
like,
go
trying
over
to
there and I
figure-
pick it up, and I'm like, because the show, there's nothing underneath it.
They're just like examining it with all their eyes and like wagging their
And I start doing this
tongues.
thing where I'm like,
Yeah.
and I start like making like magic.
And they're all like, and the amber gleaners are all like kind of just like looking weird, like what is going on with all these strange alien people? But they're getting along well with them. And yeah, montages. Give me some montages for what you guys are up to.
I'm sprinting. My character's always running.
Sprinting.
He's going the distance.
Yeah.
There's a
Doing training.
comedic thing of like the blood barm like parting ways, and you like running through them, and then they'll like all come back together, and then you run and like they're scattered repeatedly.
Or I'm chasing just one of them.
Just one. It's just frantic, like in its frantic haste. Sometimes like a pustule will bust and like spray.
I want your armor to form a headband for you for training purposes.
Yes. What are other people doing?
Forfax has still got this Methunian barrow cat in a cage because it is not tamed yet.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah. But he's working with it. He's trying to pull the Leviathan out of it.
Come on out.
And I also just realized I think I'm gonna level up my character because I have a lot of XP. It's 4 XP per advancement, right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I got an advancement too.
Oh, I could do another advancement. Oh my god.
Well, Relays
I'm like the president.
found a structure and built this
Like
very
itself?
pristine
I go
storefront. It looks like a metallic
Oh, can you
cube
pick a skill?
at
Yeah.
this point.
Is that what you're
It
trying to do?
says
I could do skill training.
Nanomancer
Effort.
I did
and
skill
a
training.
nice flashing neon sign.
Yeah.
It's just flashing.
Looks legit as heck.
There's a sales sign that comes on, and it's like, 2 languages, whatever the basic Terran common is, and whatever those other guys speak, right?
Yeah, the truth.
It's
The language of the truth.
right.
And they're starting to pick it up as the language of truth as it goes on. It seems like they're more willing to learn than the humans are willing to learn their
Awesome.
language. But
But it's a really nice workshop. Here it's kitted out pretty nice. I got all the stuff you need in there to do basic stuff.
sweet.
You know,
You've got some of the like laborers and whatnot from the Amber Gleaners like helping you put up shelves
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
and like starting like a simple like bartering process for like different components and ciphers and stuff like that.
And I'm trying to emphasize, at one point I'm trying to get these guys to work on trading stuff. Like obviously, the Blue Tongues have a lot of agricultural and farming and survival skills that these guys don't have, and these guys have the technological know-how to do other stuff. So I'm trying to get, I'm like pairing certain guys up with certain guys. Like the guy who does most of the food production for the humans, I'm getting him with the guys who has the blood barns. What are they? Blood barns?
Barns.
Barms, blood
Yeah.
barms, trying to get them together and work out like some kind of sausage deal or
Sweet.
something. I don't know. All right.
Delicious.
All right.
Blood barm transfusion.
All right.
Blood barm sauce.
So the first day that you open your shop like officially, right?
Right.
Everybody's like asking when it's going to be open, and you open it, and people come in and they look at like your collection of stuff, but no one
It's very sterile in here. It's so sterile. It's just stuff laid out
Everything
in
is
pristine
perfect,
condition. All right. A lot
but
of glass.
but no one's buying anything. But then someone who is staying in the newly built the free house, like their like little like inn, right? The Amber Keep was built as like a way station for people traveling through, right? And so an adventurer comes through who you would guess is probably a Jack, right? They have like a silver like jaw, like that their jaw was totally broken, and they've had like this mended jaw like placed back on, and they keep it like super polished, and they're wearing like this long flowing cape and have like 2 daggers or whatnot. But they see your nanomancy shop and like come in and negotiate. Like they throw down a thing. Give me a percentile roll. He's like, no, I thought I'd never find such
15.
Cultured wares here.
We have all that the avid adventurer could need in his or her travels.
He drops down a cipher. Let's see.
Do you have any?
Oh, wait. Let's
I don't feel like the armor hindrance is like being too like.
A growth harness.
Growth harness?
I saw it at Hustler once.
gross.
Oh my god.
Or an
growth harness.
an abmoacoustic weapon. Here, I'll hold on to this to read it, and then we can. How do you feel about voting, chat? Give me a yay if you're into the idea of voting on this cipher. Otherwise, we'll roll. So the growth harness draws mass to the user from another dimension, allowing them to grow 50% larger for an hour. During this time, she gains 12 points to her might pool and deals 2 additional points of damage with all melee
Large
attacks.
self scroll,
Yeah.
A large self scroll. Not bad.
Growth harness. Or an emoacoustic weapon. This device allows the user to change the emotion of a single target in short range with a sonic burst that only the target will hear. The user can choose one of these emotions or states: anger, despair, fear, joy, calm, great hunger, or sexual arousal. This artificial state lasts for 10 minutes.
That's like the blaster in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The ultimate weapon.
All right. We want it. Let's do it.
Let Hannah do it.
Boom.
Vote.
And
Vote correctly.
Choose wisely.
You must choose.
exclamation point, vote, space, and then the number. And we've only got a 1 and a 2 in this situation.
So if you vote 3, your vote is getting thrown out.
Thrown out, yeah.
False is a new card.
We do not recognize it.
Is that what I'm seeing? How do you get a new card?
A 0 is new card.
Oh.
Mostly because it default starts at 0. So I was kind of like, I don't want it to be like exclamation point vote 0 for option 1.
For option 1,
doesn't make any sense.
Growth harness.
Growth harness. So he negotiates this trade in exchange for like some services.
Not if you don't type it right, Taylor. Exclamation point, vote, space, 3.
That's Eberg or whatever his name is. From what's it called?
Zoidberg.
Almost.
Zoidberg, yeah.
Ooh, you're close.
So close.
Just put a space in there.
Why is it so hard?
So he negotiates this trade for this cipher with you in exchange for like identifying like a bunch of other ciphers and stuff that he's found along the way, and like fixing up like an artifact that he's found and whatnot.
Right.
So he's mostly just like bartering for your services, but he gives you this in exchange.
All right. To which I pull out a nice rusty can of
There you
Brasso. And
Brasso.
I polish his jaw for him. Right there on the
Yes.
spot. I'm like, here you go.
Oh.
I'm forever in debt to you, good sir.
He's all shiny.
He like looks in a mirror that you have him,
All right.
and it's like, oh, I shine like the sun,
All right.
and leaves you with one of these two ciphers.
Awesome.
I have 2 things I'd like to put into my thing, if that's okay. My, like, whatever it's called.
Who's taking it?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Also, what does it look like? I think it looks like that. person?
A person?
Oh, I think it's biotech. So it's like an apparatus that you have to like
You have
put
to
on
wear it,
all the
yeah.
accoutrements.
It's a harness, so I guess that maybe describes itself.
I get it.
Yeah.
That looks good. All right.
All right.
Who gets this?
And which one is it?
It's
we
the
have
growth one. They voted one, right?
There's 2
Well, I guess
votes.
Taylor did vote 3, but we got a tie then.
It's 3.
3 was
Three-
drawing a new card.
Okay.
Or no, 3
was
is not a
1,000
thing.
years dungeon.
Yeah, 3 is not a thing. So we're going with 1.
I can trade somebody, and I can take one if they're gonna do the get big one, because my character.
This would
fight
probably
with that.
benefit somebody who's like a jack or a glaive more
Yeah,
than
not me.
I have an open spot.
All right.
Because I
as
can give you
well.
one of
It would
these.
benefit
I can
Shen
give you the
probably the
access
most.
token, which is a pretty good one.
And actually, I have
Stores.
3 right now, so
Ooh,
And I
Better,
can,
Max.
Yeah.
I could take that,
I'd love to have your access.
because then my
token.
character, growth harness, right? Is that
Yeah,
one
that's
it
the one.
is? Okay.
Yeah.
anybody want to
There's
vintage
just too many
changer?
jokes I could make out of that.
Taylor
Oh,
Taylor
vintage
also
changer
votes
is a
1, so
disguise kid,
Oh,
basically.
demand a runoff.
My character's fast.
All right. What are other people doing?
I got a speedboat and an alarm.
So you said our montage photo.
Yeah.
So I'd say that for Kilu's, he has gathered up maybe 4 or 5 of the blue tongue people, and they're probably bloodborns standing around this like headstone that he's put into the ground, and it just says Charlie, and it has the 28 hours
Your
of his
dog.
life.
Yeah, he gets shriveled
And
out at the
I'm sitting there
end of the
solemnly,
day.
like crying, and the blue tongues seem like they don't know what's happening or why I've gathered them here. And I've been doing a vigil, and
You brought him to the funeral?
yes, so
you draw like in the sand like a picture of the dog.
mhm.
Dead face with the X over the eyes and the tongue hanging
I think
out.
I don't even get that far. I think I don't even explain it to them. I just expect them to understand what they're doing here, and they have no clue.
They can clearly tell that you're like in
You're
grief
distraught, yeah.
and sorrow, so they put their hands on your shoulder.
Yes, and I'm like, yeah.
And like after like a long time of you like crying and whatnot, like one of them like leans forward and like with like eyes on the side of his head is like looking to see if you're like, is he still upset kind of thing. Like he's taking a long moment here.
I think something epic happens to that dog when it goes away too. I can't.
Doesn't
even
it just
remember.
shrivel
I think
up?
It, yeah. I think it melts into a goo.
Oh,
I think that's what, I
gross.
can't remember exactly what it was, but
Did you put it at the
Not worth
bottom?
burying that thing. It's no different than flushing your own shit.
Damn. That's hard.
Kilu cries even more.
It's a Numenera.
But I think I wanted to ask for my remainder of my 3 weeks.
Yeah, it dissolves into a thick liquid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I had it in like a little
Feces.
cup or something, and I put it into the ground, and we buried it.
So it's like in a little, like Tupperware or something?
Yes.
Like,
It is a Tupperware. Yes. It's
Gross.
And
That's
it's just,
another
we just
Numenera
put
too.
it in the ground, and I just like
Right.
I've got one of the other like blue tongues who's like shoveling the dirt on it while I'm giving the vigil, which is like, Charlie, we didn't know you very long, but we loved the way you would hardly make noises with your absent mouth, and the way you felt when we cuddled you.
And that you squeaked when you walked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a sneaker.
Yeah, like a sticker with a hole in it.
Your squishy paws will be forever known in amongst the Everglades.
He was the most squishiest
Beautiful.
of pets.
The worst. Favorite shoes
But I was
with a
gonna
hole in it,
ask,
and they sound
I
like water
can't-
squish.
I can't do any other tasks because I only have 3 weeks. But I was hoping, and the crafting test that I can do, I don't have enough material. But I was thinking if I could do the repair on. What do you thought about doing the repair on
The slug spitter.
relay? No, relay.
Oh, on relay. Oh, to
Yeah.
add the
The amber crystal.
yeah,
Do you think 3 weeks is an appropriate amount of time for that?
yeah,
Okay, cool.
totally.
How much amber crystal do you think that would require?
Greetings. I'm a little cannibal.
Oh damn.
Do you remember where that stuff was located? Like how?
Houston.
Oh
no, Rumi,
Thanks for tuning in.
former Rumi, but always a Rumi in our hearts. Thanks for tuning. We might have to figure this one out off stream though.
Okay.
Because I don't know exactly how it's gonna work.
Okay.
And I might find something that's like comparable.
Okay.
In order to get a like difficulty and stuff that would be fit for
That
it.
I could actually roll on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you
that's
think
cool.
3 weeks is an appropriate amount of time? I looked through. There's some pretty like complex like vehicles that you build in that amount of time. I feel like
Yeah.
with a functioning.
I think like
Mm.
ciphers and stuff you can build in 3 weeks. Yeah. I think you'll be fine.
I think in 3 weeks I can build like almost like 8th level ciphers. So,
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, yeah,
yeah.
hit
Yeah.
me up.
You'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll figure that out, but yeah, whatever sort of benefits you
Can
want to
we
give to
do
relay
something
sounds pretty
pretty
cool.
cool when he does that? Can he take this piece of Numenera? Where's
I
that?
love holding more Numenera than I can handle
And
because it
make
gives
me
me
look
this
more
funny
humanoid
feeling
than my
all over.
counterparts.
Yeah. Not supposed
Uh,
to
Not like a emulation of a human being, but just a little bit more polished than those guys are. You know?
Yeah, I think so. Like you're saying, like this is like a big effect, but it's only for 28 hours. But you're
Right.
like, could I get my visage changed to be like much less drastic,
Right.
but for like permanently?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think that's cool.
All right, cool.
Use this
So
Yeah,
this
'cause
goes
it's a-
away then, right?
Because it's entirely a aesthetic
Right.
effect, so I'm totally cool with that.
Oh, neat. So
Yeah.
you can like make some like
Right.
visual enhancements.
Right.
Yeah.
So instead of looking like the rest of the
Yeah,
rest
I
of
know.
those guys,
That's what I was gonna say.
kind of more like this guy now. You know, like a clockwork sage looking dude here.
Oh,
you
cool.
know?
Sweet.
I'll work it out. You know?
Oh,
All right, there's the filaments right there. Just I don't know. We'll
Cool.
work it out.
that also
Yeah.
seems like Kilu's style to like enhance more of, like aesthetically.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet. All right. Enough of that.
All right.
I think there's some automaton stuff, so I'll look it up.
What's Kele
So-
doing?
Very taking great pains to make sure that they feel like this is their idea. Kele will convince Tasala that it's a great idea to host weekly gatherings by the water fountain, and make sure also
Streams at the stream.
that Janelle is there to translate, and even though
All
like
these
you just, like,
relations, these social
plants the
relations.
seed as an offhand comment for him to do this thing and build community morale, but Kaylee is always there, and Kaylee is the one who's actually listening. And at night, Kaylee goes out and takes care of like the small little mundane annoying things that villagers complain about.
Do you let anyone know that
No,
you're doing
no,
No,
he
no,
goes
no.
in full disguise, hood up, goggles on, like cover the face, run around at night
Delve
and
down.
do
Here comes
things
the
like
redeemer.
You're like
sweep
Amelie.
people's doorways, or like do cute little things for children. I don't know if there's
Aw.
even kids here.
That's
But
precious.
like the small mundane things that are easy to fix but annoying, like that don't need to be dealt with for real. And that
Yeah.
is my argument for how I am raising the overall
See, I'm
community
cool.
happiness.
Yes. I'm
Of,
cool.
like these small little things get taken care
Yeah,
of.
and the community meeting, and actually it turns out that the blue tongues do that kind of thing every day.
Of course.
Because they're in like a small village, so they take up like any kind of grievances, and most of the time they're like, all right, let's all have this meeting, like they do it every day. Does anybody have any grievances? And then it's just like silence, and then it's like, cool, let's all eat then, right? They do it right before dinner, kind of like the whole village. So they adopt this like with great excitement, and they make a big point of being like, we'll cook like this awesome blood barm feast, for the like weekly meeting. They were a little concerned that doesn't happen more often, but that they're like, it might be long if there's a lot of people here, and the issues might pile up. But but they're excited for it.
Seems like the blue tongues are a little bit more advanced socially than the rest of the folks are.
They don't seem like technologically advanced. Like their shaman was totally like he was doing like magic. Right? He was like a weirdo in their tribe. And they don't seem like they grasp technology much at all or care much for it. But like socially, they like are super loving and like have a great
They have not
community.
fallen asleep to themselves in the way that we have.
Yeah,
I feel
totally.
like
They're rooted.
They're in touch with their true essence.
Yes.
I feel like your twin should get an advantage on perceiving you doing these things.
You guys can roll off if you want.
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't have anything as far as perception
I don't
goes.
either.
Excellent. I beat you. I got a 5, and you got a 2.
You're not trained in stealth or anything, Sophie?
No, I mean, no.
No.
I
No
went to
effort on
lie.
either part?
At some
But
point,
actually, I think this is teaching me a valuable lesson. So I did do a level up, and I have the option to train in a skill. And I feel like after this event, I will train in stealth.
There you go.
after this event, Kele confronts you and says, "I know what you've been doing." And then he hands you
Wait, so like you wait for me to come back, and then just
he
know what
hands
you're doing.
you like he holds out
I'll smile at
his hand and he like
So
does
proud of you.
this and then he leaves a list of iotum in your hand that he wants you to pick up. All of these things.
Yeah, I feel like Kele is probably in too much shock at being perceived by someone who she perceives to be pretty clueless most of the time to protest.
I feel like this is the one advantage that Kele has. Is
Yeah,
knowing what you're
now
actually up
this
to.
is like a huge, like, it is made very clear to you in the form of a note written on one of your precious pieces of paper. The consequences for sharing this knowledge will be grave,
It's
swift,
like on
and
my. You took it
relentless.
from my printer.
I warn you. Don't tell anybody, or things will happen.
Yeah, it's very vague but threatening.
Here's the things I need.
This is my list. Awesome.
Oh yes, I'm sorry, I've been hoarding.
Is there any other?
Oh yeah, if we got 2 months after I get the shop up and running, I make another cube-like building next door to it. and
Well, we're just doing 2 total.
2 total.
Total months. Yeah.
2 total months.
Yeah.
Alright,
so
so-
they did like a month. In the last session,
Yeah.
and then we paused to do this exploration
Okay.
of the hand, and then we
Okay.
do 1 more month.
All right.
And then just because at that point it all right, so we'll say during that time you informed some people in the village of Radius getting captured,
Right.
and where that happened, and you guys went out and scouted it out and were able to find like the trail was long dead, but you guys were able to kind of search around the area and find what you suspected to be the place that this person took Radius, because of some subtle hints of this person's hands that attacked you had like some kind of like bioluminescent smear on them, like they had been eating something that was like bioluminescent. Like imagine like if
lightning
you
bug or
ate a
something.
bunch of lightning bugs or whatever,
Right,
and it was
yeah.
like kind of diminishing. And then when you approach this structure, it had that same kind of bioluminescence, and it is. I have a picture for it of this structure, and you. Whoop, not that. It is like a giant pod. I have a big thing of it. If I can find it. It's a giant organic pod. Let me get you guys the description.
Destiny, Discovery, 4.
It's a rocky eruption from the land that externally resembles a gargantuan water jar.
Whoa.
Yeah, it.
Water vessels are like a theme.
I
I
know,
guess we're in
right?
a desert.
The material that
That's
that
right.
composes it seems like it might even be stone. It's like a rocky like web work like kind of structure. The top doesn't open, but it has this. It's definitely hollow, and there's this huge, kind of weird star-shaped opening to it. You guys can.
Almost like a handprint.
The dang poster
thing
thing.
I
was. I was
Almost like
showing
a
Randy
handprint.
beforehand, but I
In
lost
the jar
it.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those big poster pieces.
Yeah, that big
They were
poster.
over there.
I know. I'm like, I don't know where I put it. Crazy. So yeah,
Weird.
you find that
Is that
place.
a joke?
It's got a definition on the back. It
Alright.
doesn't mean like
Okay.
a person.
Alright. Like,
Yeah,
that's
it's-
a really
I thought it
offensive can of beer right
I
there.
thought it was a weird name too, but I was like, it's really tasty. So, but they have a description. It doesn't mean what you.
Okay. Alright.
It was weird.
All right, so then eventually the stuff that I had said earlier when I forgot that we weren't done yet happens, right? The caravan of new amber gleaners shows up. The
Yes.
the population has increased to about 100, and we've got all these houses that have been built. You guys got all the XP from all that stuff, and it becomes a rank 1 community.
You should draw
Also,
where
now
necromancer
I am
where
now trained
Yeah, I got
necromancers
you.
is.
You're trained in stealth?
I used my
That's the
XP
name of your store.
Not
to
necromancers, but
also learn stealth while I was
nanomancers.
learning
Yes.
my fleet of
Yeah.
foot,
Yes.
which is why every time anybody
I'm
saw
gonna
me, I
put
was
it right
running
here.
really fast.
I love that you're just running.
Just running.
Quantium is.
It was like burst running, right? So it's like standing still and then like
We have one.
and then stopping and then doing it
We've been
again.
doing this before, finding out we could search for specific stuff.
But there's something about fleet of foot that's not just increasing your pool by one.
The structure has a certain level cap. So like in a level 5 structure, I can't salvage for these what you think above.
Gotcha.
Which is why I usually do look for anything because that means that no matter what the level of the structure is,
There's a
it's-
chance.
Yeah.
There we go.
Why did you look for everything? For anything?
To increase chances of finding things that I couldn't look for specifically.
Like if the structure is a level
Oh,
5,
well, I
then you
guess
couldn't
it's
go
still
above.
constrained because we've done that before where it just cycles around after the level cap. That's right.
Oh.
Yeah, you can't get stuff past the level
Yeah.
even if you do everything.
I didn't know that she could look for specific things.
Well, I can.
So that's why I gave her the list. I like the narrative way that I did it, but it was up until this point I was like,
Yeah.
oh. she can
And
look
the
for
long-term
things.
move of looking for stuff, you can pick a specific thing to
Yeah.
track down.
With the it's basically the same thing as it's the same principle where there's one where I can mine for something specific or do something in general. Yeah, prospect or find specific.
You're the prospector of this town.
You know that's
Oh yeah, fleet of foot.
So arbitrarily after the 2 months, Relay has returned from a short excursion to track down where the person who took Radius could be and has found it.
Mm-hmm.
It is a ruin known as the Calbus. As this weird rocky...
And you did bring Radius back?
No.
Oh.
Did not bring him back, but I got some clues. There's some phosphorescent like residue that was on the guy's hand that messed us up, and it's here at this site as well. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah, and that person had the tattoo.
So this would be a clue too.
Mm-hmm.
That the same one that
So
that
should
we
start
found
our search
in
here.
the like home of the
Yeah, the I was just thinking Groguntus, but it was the Frontex. Yeah, Groguntus was the big Frontex. But yeah, the
that I grenaded.
No, not the Frontex. The
Yeah, the bird.
the
things.
Mudbirds,
Yeah,
right?
Mudbirds.
The Mudbirds had stolen the
Forgot about those guys.
the memory extractor. They had stolen the memory extractor from a person with one of these gear tattoos, and then they had encased them in an
That's right.
amber. Yeah. but they were dead. They had their throats slit by the mudbirds.
So we should start our search there for
Relay?
not relay.
Radius? Why
Radius.
is
Radius.
it this hard?
Radius.
How many days travel is this location from where Korean plays?
It's actually pretty close. It's about a half-hour walk.
Whoa.
It's not
Oh.
far.
And what was the name of the place? Or
You-
the description?
Calpis.
Calpis, yeah. You
5
got the
minutes
impression
to run
that
like shit.
this
Yeah.
person had tracked you guys when you went out to your like rocky
I run a long
cliff,
distance.
cliff
as a
base
single
So he was
and
tracking
ambushed
us.
you.
And
one
ambushed
turn I
us.
can do a
Mhm.
single
And he's probably got a
distance, whatever
base
that
set
is.
up at the Calpis.
Mm-hmm.
Calpis.
Short
Yeah,
distance
there's
as
a
part
base
of
set up
another
there.
action.
So we should go there and storm the place and find my I don't know, progeny. It's not my progeny, it's my brother, but it's not my brother because we're all androids in the same set. So, all right, my set
Brother from another motherboard.
There you go. There you go. Brother from another motherboard. That works. That's appropriate. Right
Yeah.
there.
When asked about it, because he called you father when he first saw you,
That's right.
and he said
It is a lot.
it is from another motherboard. It is good.
That's a good one. I like that one.
When asked about it, he said that it just seemed right.
That father
some
seemed
reason,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
But he was like, I don't know that it's the same as like a human that births a son, but you just seems like
Fathers don't birth anything.
oh right. It's hard to keep track of how these humans work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Channeling some Furla there.
So he might be
Yeah.
like a more updated or more newer version than I am within the same OS. The way you explain Relay to me is like he was like some kind of administrator or like service droid, really, right? That got discarded and then I was still on and I just evolved after that, right? So
Yeah, well, it's hard to really know what you were originally built
Right.
for because it was so long ago. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, you were
okay,
kind of awoke at a much later point.
all right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. There's mysteries to be unraveled, I guess.
Yeah, and you know that
Codes
you
to
have
crack.
these others that are all like these other siblings or whatnot, progeny, whatever, that are all connected in the same like information web.
Mm-hmm.
That you remember all kind of activating at once, and
I
then
remember
several of
that,
them
yeah.
being killed.
Right.
And you found this one, and you got the impression when the two of you worked together that you were like able to boost the signal to track down the other ones.
This
But
would be Radius.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. But when Radius was captured, like you've had a hard time like keeping that. And yeah, I guess it would also make sense that when you approach this structure, you get that
Mhm.
like radio signal like being boosted. You get that feeling that
Right.
that Radius is in it.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, yeah,
I
sorry.
want to send out another ping right there, to start this search to see if it's even worth going there. We got these visual clues, but I don't see if there's
Yeah.
any other type of
Yeah.
clue. So,
He's definitely there, but his signal is like being weirdly distorted by
Okay.
the structure.
okay. Alright.
It's got like a weird feedback going on, but he's definitely
good.
there.
All right. Well, shit. What do you guys want to do? You want to just storm the place? You want to surveil it or sneak in? Radius is there.
How far away from the compound is this?
About an hour and a half. Well, half an hour.
Half-hour walk,
Yeah, half an hour walk.
so not very far.
All right. And whoever did this to us is there too, probably.
Could we ask them to give Radius back?
I
We
don't
could
think that's
ask.
gonna happen.
I
We
don't
could
know
send
if
a
we'd have
note
a
in.
positive response if we did, but we could ask.
Send a note in and then ask politely.
I've got
I
my.
grab something off of your person and hold it away from you. I want it to be your oddity, but that seems impractical.
No, loyalties tied well to my.
You appreciate it. That's right.
Yes. Well, why are you? What? What? Why?
Want it back?
Yeah.
No, I took it. When someone takes something, they don't usually want to give it back.
Okay. All right. I get it.
She's
Just
teaching-
figured we ask first. Can I have that back?
No, not until you've learned your lesson.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it might not be a good idea to ask. Since they did attack us, we should just go in there and
Yeah.
rescue
Yeah, if you
them.
take
I
it
don't
back
think there's
from me,
much
it's probably
asking
good.
that's needed.
Yeah.
But should we use, stealth or just brute force is the question.
You said it was
I
a
always opt for
I
stealth
mean,
if we can.
yeah, they really mess you up, which is impressive.
If you don't
Yeah.
go with
You're
stealth,
impressive.
then you've got to have the weapons to take the whole thing out.
Oh,
We don't have.
no. So let's
Last
sneak in
time
there.
we stealth, I feel like y'all got hurt by something.
Yeah, those
Times have changed.
Yeah, that was another story.
I need to level up before I do
Something else
anything.
was happening there. I can't quite figure it out.
Just trying to figure it out. I mean,
There's a time
so
leap, but we don't know
Keith,
that.
I'm sorry. I need more information.
Something
So the
happened.
guy that attacked
know
us was
what.
also
It was a lady, technically.
She was the lady was also an automaton though, right?
No, she's a
She
human,
was a human.
but has this like weird tattoo. Of
She's
the
got
ear.
the weird spiral tattoo thingy on her
And
face.
that's the same as the person that we had found in the Mudbirds
Yep.
Mhm.
place. And what did we determine about that person? Was
So
there
she's
much
like
that we...
Magnus robot fighter. That's what she's
that
like. She's just busting
person-
up robots left and right. Like
I feel like we tried to.
No.
Well, they have a distinctive tattoo.
Yeah.
Other than that,
that would have been my old Numenera character, Cypher. Cypher was a robot hunter.
they have the journal. It sounded like they went mad. They were talking about the fourth prophet of the machine god.
Mhm.
The fourth prophet got sick and got lost and delirious, and believed herself forsaken by the machine god.
Herself, specifically herself in the text.
I did write that down. Yeah.
The other one was a lady too. Yeah.
Okay, so the other one was a lady too. So is it like a nunnery of robot hunters? Crazy robot hunters?
And the memory collector was described as a tool of the machine god that is meant to collect information from automatons for details on the divine key. Thanks, Sophie of the past.
I know. Excellent work.
Dang.
Which would probably be what Radius has got going on in his head right now too. Some of that stuff.
The divine key.
Yeah.
And
It's gonna take all 9 of us to do that though, I'm for sure.
do we get the impression that all automatons know what the divine key is?
Well, I
Maybe
mean,
certain
I
names.
guess we might even have the impression that some of them don't,
Yeah.
and they're just getting messed with.
I'm getting the sense that this whole divine key thing, which I don't really have any data on right now, is something that's lost in my memory and perhaps the other versions of myself, the other automatons that came out of the same factory that I have come out of, wherever that is. But I'm getting the sense that that knowledge is stored in our memory bank somehow, and these people are accessing it for whatever clandestine reasons that they have.
As you guys are talking about this and the divine key, you actually remember that when this figure ambushed you guys, she had said under her breath of like 2 keys,
No,
Mm.
yeah.
like in surprise. When
I
she
say
said
that
both of you guys.
like a service droid would say it, so I just play it back.
Play
in
it.
my voice.
Open your mouth and it's her voice. 2 keys,
Yeah.
and then followed immediately by the sound of like like explosions and stuff. As
Yeah,
She
we
followed
definitely do
fire.
have this knowledge. I just can't access it right now.
Wait, do you have the knowledge or are you the knowledge?
I don't know. There's not enough data to give you a definite answer.
Well, I'll go with a hunch.
Alright. I'm like scanning. I just stop right there and just start scanning. I'm not going to access it right now, but I'm thinking I can. I'm like
scanning.
Yeah.
Access denied. No.
Pretty much. It's like, what's that fucking password?
Are you guys standing outside the Calpus? Have you done any preparation or anything beforehand? Stocked up on supplies or anything?
I would like to go in there later when I level up my dude. I don't know what I want to do with him. I just don't want to go in there right now.
Oh, like leveling up your character?
Yeah, with the new XP I got, I want to do some stuff. Maybe go tier 2. I got 4 XP now.
You can do one advancement.
Yeah, one advancement.
I've
at a
already done an
time.
advancement, so I'm up
You have
for
to
another.
you have to do 4 advancements to get to tier 2.
So I can get a second
But
advancement.
yeah, you've done one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could choose another one of those.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about doing that.
And they're on the other side of your character sheet.
This one?
At the bottom.
There you go.
Yeah, I got
Down
you.
here. So you did one of those.
Yeah. So I'm working with 2 character sheets.
Gotcha. Which you could
Oh.
check mark the
Okay.
one as a helpful way of keeping track of like which one you've done.
So I've done here.
That makes sense.
This is my
It
tier
does.
1
Yeah.
guy.
I love that. bit.
Yeah, and it looks like you didn't level him up yet on that one.
All right,
yet,
we'll
or did
we'll
you?
end early and work this out. All right, so
Yeah.
you guys step into this place, and I'll just leave you with this freaky description. Right, irregular columns studded with veined globes of blue light support a great chamber. The profusion of columns and light mist limits vision to a short distance in any one direction. Free floating orbs, trailed by vein-like stony growths, slowly rise and fall. Here and there, massive nodules protrude from the irregular ground, each one set with a dark opening. So it's this freaky, weird, organic structure that you guys stepped into that almost seems maybe like a church. And like you're immersed in like a fog, like a briny, like weird, thick fog.
Gross and weird.
And we'll leave you guys on that.
Sweet.
And that is we have entered chapter 2 of the Machine God plot.
Wow, cool.
So we just finished Act 2. Like the one side of the plots are chapters and one side are acts. So we're like kind of caught up on both on the second, right? So
They're
Act
calling
2,
them 2 different names, so you don't confuse them.
Mm-hmm. So we've done just one chapter in the Machine God with the Mudbirds, right? And then we switched into the other plot and did two acts of freeing Amberkeep and then rebuilding it. And so as the campaign goes, we'll kind of switch between those 2 plots. It's pretty cool. They were like, you can play these separately, you can play them together, and if you play them together, here's like the order that you go.
That is neat.
So
It makes it feel like it's more long term.
Yeah.
It can be, as opposed to just like 16 days of adventuring.
Yeah, totally. Because then you're like, go back to town, spend some months like fixing up some things and whatnot.
Living a life beyond this one single.
Yeah,
adventure.
totally.
Yeah, and I think that creates the opportunity for like the role play and the moments for the characters to like.
And level up between
And
these
so,
things.
so often the like dungeon crawl sort of experiences or like the like kind of grind, it's like you feel like you don't have that opportunity
No.
to
raise
slow
a
down and be
child.
like what
To raise a
or you know
child.
raise a child.
That's right.
Tune in next week in case
When
you
we
get
all
to see
raise
us raise a
children.
child.
Everyone raises. We had all picked raise a child.
Yeah.
As long term.
Did y'all really all pick Raise a Child?
No.
No.
That is one of the things you can do.
Because I love it though, especially since I love that it specifies you don't have to birth the child to raise the child. You can. I'm like, we need a team
And also the fact that it
of-
takes 4 months to raise a child is the thing that I
That's
find
it.
Just 4
the
months,
funniest.
that's
Yeah,
it.
4 months and then
So-
You're on your own.
You're ready for the world.
Good
Like,
luck, my friend.
No,
need
you're
to,
getting 5. Yeah,
like,
you're good. You're good.
task force of orphans to do my bidding.
Yes.
Like Sherlock
The Orphan
Holmes.
Master.
Yeah.
No, you put that up there.
All right.
Who can like watch shoot stuff for me while I'm gone.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure to tune in on Friday for Expedition
Dragons.
Dracana.
And death.
Dragon Mountain finally
Episode-
getting there.
Yeah.
Episode
Yeah.
16?
Well, I know what's going
15,
down.
yeah.
You've lost all of your external NPCs and you're down to just the core now. So
Yeah.
Yeah, at
Voices
this point-
have died.
Right.
Yeah, we
Well,
we
one
are
thing is for
got
certain.
very little left.
Yurik will not die because he will not be there next
Yep.
week.
Oh.
Y'all will have to.
Oh, that's
Get
just
along
some
without him
scary
again.
stuff going
Yeah.
on there.
He will be missed.
See, I was talking to your GM, so I know some stuff
Graduation.
Yeah.
that I'm not going to
the
say.
secrets.
That I'm not going to say, but it's scary. It's
Totally.
scary stuff, you know. Right? Really scary
And
stuff.
last thing, I'm also on Saturday running a game on Unmade Gaming's stream, which I'm really stoked about. He's doing a 12-hour charity event for Extra Life Gaming. He does one every month, but yeah, it's awesome. And I'm going to be running a She-Ra Masters of Umdar game, which should be awesome. We have
should
the
be.
princesses built out, and they're freaking hilarious. There's a Baronclosaurus. It's an Ankylosaurus bear chimera. There's a party robot who like was pressed into gladiatorhood for some reason, and there's a high-flying lemur aerialist princess. It's gonna be hilarious. So stay tuned for that. 12 p.m. on. Just follow us on Twitter, and you'll know. 12 p.m. Central Standard on Saturday. And with that said, tune in next week for more Machine God. All the love, y'all. Stay tuned for a raid.